Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Josh with Paparazzi Imaging and Films. Welcome back to the Vignette Podcast. This is episode 22, I do believe. As you can see, we have Taven Woodie from Woodies Racing. We're here at her race shop, and we're going to do the podcast here. So, welcome, Taven.
Yeah, thank you. It sucks that I'm only the 22nd one. Wish I was like one of the first, but it's mostly fine.
I know, and I live so close to the race shop. Why didn't you be number one?
Yeah, it's your problem, not mine.
I know, for real, and I'm sorry about that, but at least you're on the podcast.
I know, and it makes me happy.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah, so I guess let's start off with how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Recovery's been really rough. 2 back-to-back knee surgeries, only 5 months apart. Whenever you're almost 100% healed on the first one. So that definitely sucks. It's now been going good, but the first probably 4 or 5 months has been really rough. I wouldn't say I gave up, but I kind of all efforts were not there. Kind of was not doing my stuff at home that I should be. Sorry, Kelsey. But I probably shouldn't. I didn't do my stuff at home, but then kind of first of the year, seeing everybody that was riding and kind of just, I knew that I was missing out the season, so I figured, okay, well, it's time to get back into shape again and get back into gear. So was doing really good with therapy, and then finally got cleared to do box jumps again on Monday. So that's how I tore my ACL, if anybody doesn't know. Retort. I got the clear from the doctor, but then, that's just how that worked.
That was, like, when I heard that, I was so bummed because I was so ready to see you race again. Yeah, no, it's like,
I came off of last season. I was winning the last race, and I swept the day, so that was pretty good. And I felt like if I would have kept on riding like that, it would have been hard because definitely Maline's my toughest competitor, but it would have been hard to do it. But I felt like if I would have rode like I did in Michigan, whenever I first tore my ACL, if I would have rode like that the rest of the season, I feel like I could have had a championship that season. So I definitely sucked watching everybody get faster this season, but now I've watched a lot of videos, and especially just doing the announcing stuff this year. I've watched a lot, and so I can now prepare myself for next year and work on what I need to work on. And I got to watch everybody else's faults and their good parts of their races, and so now I can take what I've learned from this season and work it for next season.
Man, and nobody really gets to study people like you really did this season.
Yeah.
Because they're all on the track, and all they can see is really the live footage after the race.
Yeah, and that's I wouldn't call it a bummer, but it's definitely.
I call it an advantage.
Yeah, it is an advantage. Besides not being able to race the season, and I'm the only person that's tore their ACL twice and still proceeding to race in the pro women's class. So that's rough still. Taking this season off, it's definitely, I lost a lot from there, but at least I can use this little bit of advantage to get me hopefully better for next season.
For sure.
But it's been the gym has been my life every single day. I worked out right before you came here for this, so was running a little bit late for that. So, so it's been the gym every single day, meal prep, counting calories. Probably shouldn't be doing that, but I've been sitting on my butt for the last basically year. My first surgery was April 20th of last year, so I've been kind of sitting on my butt and very laxated this season, the last year or whatever, so gained a little bit of weight, but we're trying to get back into gear, and I'm ready to come swinging.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
So I'm excited.
That's good. Yeah, and I if I was to be in your position, I would definitely be doing what you're doing, going to the gym, eating right, just so I know that I'm ready for this season, and that I eliminated all the possibilities of even getting some sort of injury.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I'm the only one that's ever had 2 ACL surgeries, but then I've been going into this class for now 7 years. This is going to be my 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, so going into my 8th season this season, but I'm only technically rode 5 seasons out of the 7 that I've raced, because I only got to race 2 races in 2021 whenever I tore my ACL, and then I had this season off. So it's kind of I still have a lot of learning to do, even though I've been racing snowmobiles for 16 years. There's just, everybody else is getting faster and everybody else is still learning. So it's kind of going to be the season's going to be a fun season for me.
Yeah.
I definitely want the championship, but I'm not going to let the championship get into my mind.
Right.
All I want to do is 100% like have fun and race my own race. I need to stop getting into my head, because that's been my problem the last couple of years is, okay, what are they doing that I need to do better?
Right.
So it's always been that, and not what am I doing to do better.
Mm-hmm.
So that's been definitely a hard hitter for me the last few seasons. So I'm just, like I said, I'm ready to come and have fun. I'm tired of saying I'm going to win the championship, then finishing in second place. So
right.
This season's all about having fun. Definitely going to go for a championship, but I'm going to have an open mind coming in this season after taking a year off. I'm definitely going to try and dominate as much as I can, but I know I got some good girls to push me and stuff, so we'll be good.
Yeah, especially with is it Sarissa?
Carissa. Yeah.
I've heard different things through the pit. So
yeah.
She's definitely been on fire this season, and she's on Arctic Cat. So it's kind of nice that she's, you know, with the same brand that you are, and she's, you know, probably going to be there with you on the podium all next season. So yeah, it's going to be sweet. And I would say the same thing. Don't really focus on the championship. Just go out there, have fun, and be consistent.
Yep.
You know, you see it a lot, like with every championship, is they're there consistently, whether you're not on the podium or just being top 4, like, you can win a championship, because anything can happen.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we've watched that. I mean, previous years, Tyler Adams won a championship by taking 3rd and 2nd places, never won a single race that season, but was just consistent top 5s and ended up winning a Pro Light championship.
Right.
So that's kind of, I mean, not saying that's what I'm looking for. I definitely want the wins, but I mean, the consistency is key. And last season, all the way up until I tore my ACL going into Iowa, I was the only girl. Me and Creighton Dillon were actually the only people that had been on the podium 14 out of the 16 races that whole season. They said that on the live stream, and I was like, I guess I never really thought about that. So that was kind of like a go me moment. And even if like 3rd place is still a podium. So I mean,
heck yeah.
And like I said, that's not exactly what I'm looking for this season. I want to just looking for have fun and hopefully get some wins. But I mean, as long as consistency is there and I'm in the best shape that I could possibly be in, and just having fun and knowing that I'm riding at 110, 120%. That's all I care about.
Yeah, for sure. Are you like really amped up to get back on the sled?
I am. We got some good things worked out for this season. I'm really excited about that. Those will be coming. I mean, it's only May, so I mean those will be coming in a few months. But
silly season is any day.
Yeah, silly season is gonna start. It's gonna start working out, and then like looking into some of the snowcross teams this year, it's just been like I honestly don't know who's gonna start going where and everything. Right. What teams are gonna switch and trade riders, and so
I've been hearing people are gonna be switching. Like this was a rumor the weekend of Duluth. People were going to be switching, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I heard a couple things too, but I mean, I guess we'll find out. It's going to be fun. It's like I have like a little bit of the media part of me now with the broadcasting that I just did this season. So now I'm kind of like wanting to stick my nose into everything. I'm like, huh. And I was nosy before. Now I'm like, okay, what's going on?
You're right.
And so it's kind of funny, but yeah, going. I'm just I really have no words. I'm kind of just excited and. I'm ready to have fun.
Heck yeah. It's been a while. And in the summertime, you do the car racing. So that's like, I think that gives you even more of an edge over everybody, because you're not just in the gym. You're also racing and honing in your craft even more to be more focused on the track.
Yes.
You know?
So I'm building right now a 2024 Cadillac chassis. Some people that race snowcross probably have zero idea what that is. I'm going to be racing a Midwest mod again this year. That's basically what a Cadillac chassis is they build. I mean, it's kind of like your Arctic Cat Skidoo and everything like that. But there's so many more chassis brands out there than what we have in snowcross. So I'm building a brand new 2024, and that should be done. I mean, we kind of didn't press the issue because I want to race cars this season, but I don't want to go like 100% full all in racing every single weekend, because I want to make sure I get myself healthy on top of racing cars. So I'm actually going to hop back. We just sold my quad, but I'm going to hop back on one of our other friends, Cody Anderson. He offered me his quad whenever I wanted to, so I might go hop on a quad a few times this summer, and hopefully go hit some nationals. Some of the girls that I raced with in schoolgirl right before I moved to 450s when I was still on 250s.
Yeah, what was that, 2020?
2019.
2019?
Yeah, so 2020 I turned 17. So yeah, 2019. So summer before that. So, yeah, I was 15. I moved up until at Loretta's when I was 16. So, yeah, that summer. I ended up taking in the girls that I was racing with in schoolgirl and I was really competitive with and beating are now winning races in the WMX class. So, I mean, they race quads. They never stop. So, I mean.
This video is brought to you by our great friends at CNA Pro Skis. Whether you're looking for a ski in the mountains, trail, watercross, snowcross, or any other application in the wintertime, hit up caproskis.net, grab yourself a set of skis, and now back to the podcast.
They've definitely gotten faster, but I kind of want to see how I test up against these girls.
Yeah.
And Cody, he has a Honda, and I'm a Yamaha type of person. But if I can get a quad that I can hop on and ride anytime that I want, I'm definitely going to take it. And Cody's just been a really, really good friend of ours. I mean, you know him.
Yeah.
He raced. Was Caden's mechanic a few years ago whenever his Caden's last year racing. So I know I can trust him and everything like that, and his quads are definitely built and really good.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it makes it he built our quads and everything like that.
Yeah, didn't you? You had the KTM 250 in your Yamaha, didn't you?
Yeah, so that was a definitely fast quad. I kind of missed that thing because it would outpull 450s.
Yeah.
That thing was so built by Baldwin, it wasn't even funny. Yeah, I would just pull. I mean, it rained a lot at Loretta's back in 2019 whenever I ran WMX because it was the last race of the season I could move up because I turned 16 that weekend. So I was able to move up and run with the 450s, but it rained a lot that weekend, so the start was really thick and really heavy. So, I mean, they got me on that, but I was able to literally race with them. Mm-hmm. I was able to pull away from them on straightaways when they weren't muddy and really sloppy and gross. So that was fun. That quad was fast. I do miss that thing, and we got a pretty penny for it, so I'm happy with that. But
sure.
Like I said, we just sold my other one, and that thing was pretty built too, and it's definitely a motor game in quad racing. That's 100% what it has to be. You can have the crappiest quad, crappiest frame, crappiest everything. As long as you have a good motor, you can do very, very well. And it's kind of like that in car racing too.
Yeah.
So it's just some of these sports are definitely kind of money sports, but we have some really good sponsors behind us to kind of back that up. Snowcross is a very even playing field. So, like, whenever you get on it, you have to be stock. I mean, you can push the gray area when you're in pro and pro light, but,
right.
I mean, for, like, my class, there's no point. So, I mean, it's everything stock. So, it's, I mean, going from that to that to that and back and forth, it's kind of interesting to see how you do with everything. So, yeah, no, it's been fun.
I would say it's more so skill than sled. Like, having a good sled under you is really important, but also, like, your skill set too. Like, take the top 3 in snowcross. It's like they're fast.
Oh yeah.
You're a top 3 person yourself, and you're fast. You know, you've won races. You've been on the podium consistently. And weren't you second in the championship at one point? Like, overall?
Yeah, so
throughout the season, the last couple seasons.
So yeah, I in 2022, that was the year that I had everything go wrong that I could possibly go wrong without like not finishing the season. Broke my nose twice, got stitches in the face, rolled my ankle. Well, I didn't roll my ankle. I sprained my ankle. Dang near broke it. So that was that year was interesting. I had a couple races where I didn't even finish the finals, so that definitely hurt me. So yeah, so it's been rough. That 2022 season was rough. I ended up getting 3rd in points in that, but every year besides my first year of racing, which was back in 2017-18, in pro women's class, I finished 5th that year, but then every other year besides 2022, I finished 2nd in points. Mm-hmm. So I've been really close. Blaine only beat me by a handful of points the last year before I tore my ACL, so gives it a little bit more drive for the next couple of years, but
for sure.
You look at Malene and Malene's skill level. I mean, I will finish out an Articat through and through. They're my ride or dies. But I look at Malene, and Malene when she switched, it's definitely rider style. Yeah. Whatever sled fits you comfortably, and definitely Skidoo's fits Malene comfortably. Inanna, she would never switch, I know that, and Polaris fits her comfortable. I've looked at Carissa. Carissa's definitely gotten a heck of a lot faster over this last season. She was top 5 beginning of the season, then was finishing up on the podium. Granted, Tasha tore her ACL as well, but it's crazy to see because, I mean, even before Tasha tore her ACL, you could see Carissa coming up through the ranks and coming up through everything. So she's definitely going to be one to watch out for next season. Inanna too. She's working hard, and I know she is. But Malene's the top one to beat out of everybody, and I don't know what she's doing. But she's getting everybody riled up with her stupid Instagram posts, and I know she's never going to be done. I know she's not going to be done.
What has she been posting? I haven't been.
She posted a picture, and she goes, "Peace out, Snowcross?" ?
Oh, no.
And so, I mean, I know she's not going to be done. I need her for next season. She's going to race, even if I have to force her to get on a snowmobile. And I know she's going to race, too, but I think it's just to get some people riled up. Because, she is. She's the oldest girl in the class, and she's definitely the fastest and definitely the most in shape out of everybody.
Yeah.
She is 30 years old. She's turning 31. So, I mean,
oh, wow.
I do have a relationship with the family, with the Coutu family. So, I know some stuff, but it's not anything that anybody else doesn't know.
Right.
But I don't know. I give that girl props. She can ride through anything.
Yeah.
Broken tailbones, injuries, sickness. She can just. She definitely has her hard days, but she doesn't let anybody see it.
Right.
I mean, I know this sport is so mentally challenging.
Mm-hmm.
Snowcross is so mentally challenging, and so it's good to see her fighting through all those battles, because some people do way worse than they think that they. I mean, they do way worse whenever they start to get into their heads. Hers, she doesn't show it.
Right.
So.
Mental strength.
Yeah, no, and I admire her for that. And I mean, sometimes I get into that when, this is exactly what's happened to me the last year.
Right.
The last year was definitely all mental, and I was ready to give up. I was ready to stop racing snowcross, but I knew I couldn't leave the way I wanted, the way I did, with tearing the ACL twice, and so that's why I have a few more good years left in me, a few more really good years left in me. So that's what I'm gonna hope for in those 4 years. Get some championships in there, and then. If I get some more motivation, then we'll go another few more. So, I mean, I'm not gonna say this is my last season, because it's 100% not. I'm not gonna say that I'm gonna go 10 more years, but I want to go at least 5.
Yeah.
4 to 5 would be perfect. I would. Like I said, I'm not gonna say I'm gonna go 10 more years, but I mean 5 might not be enough. So I might go a little bit more, but. It's just kind of the whole, okay, how is this going to play out? How is my body going to do? Because there's a lot more to life outside of snowcross racing, but snowcross racing has been that's the reason why we moved to Minnesota.
Right.
We were living out in Jackson Hole and had a really successful business out there, and my parents sacrificed everything to come out here.
Right.
So it's awesome. It's awesome to have the opportunities, and I'm glad to have the opportunities, but it's definitely had some lifestyle changes with moving out here. And like I said, my parents moved out here specifically so my brother and I could race snowcross, because it got too much. I mean, a year we were spending a house payment and fuel a month.
And there's really no major racing series up in Wyoming. I know you guys had your own series out there to really help you guys elevate, but there's really not that many people that ride snowcross out there. It's more mainly mountains. Yeah,
it's mainly mountains, a lot of hill climbers. That's really mainly it. I mean, there's a lot of mountain and hill climb stuff, and so whenever we had our own own track series or whatever, we would have 70 to 80 people coming out, entries, I should say, 70, 80 entries. It would be people from Colorado, Montana, Wyoming, Idaho,
right,
around those 4 states of people coming out and racing with us. We'd have some people come out from North and South Dakota too.
Right.
Just, occasionally. But we used to have really good tracks. We had our grocery store for the longest time out there, out in Island Park. My very successful business as well before we moved out over to Jackson. But we used to have our races out there, and then once we moved to Jackson, we still carried them on.
Mm-hmm.
So once it got to where this series started dying off because some of the kids were just moving on with life. They had high school sports, so
right.
The parents didn't want to pay for snowcross anymore, so they started going and doing their own thing. So once that kind of started to die off, that's when we started moving to nationals. I think we did our first national in 2011 up in Duluth. So Caden podiumed there, and I did very well. I had my little champ and stuff like that. So, I think there was 50 of us at one time. There was a lot of champ sleds back then.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's not as much anymore, but they're still coming around because, if you look at the money that people have into champ sleds now.
It's more than a pro race sled.
Yeah, I know of a person that spent $8,000 on a motor.
It's insane. It's insane. And some of the, there's one race team, I don't even know if it's a race team, but there's that one guy with that orange hauler that just is a champ dad.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, and it's he literally has a full-fledged hauler for a champ sled, or champ or transition sled.
Yeah.
I'm like,
but he has, it's cool because I heard somebody talk, I was talking to somebody, and he was saying that he built that semi to have living quarters in it. So he has a full-fledged kitchen, bathroom, bedroom, all up at the top bunk.
Huh.
Yeah, and then downstairs it's half of it is cut off for the kitchen, and then the rest is the race shop.
Oh, well, that's cool then. I mean, definitely suitable for racing and stuff like that and spending the weekends at the track. So, I mean, I get
money
that.
on hotels.
Yeah, I know, exactly. And that's honestly probably some of everybody's budget. I mean, you look at it, some hotels are $150 a night.
Yeah.
Or plus, $150 plus a night. Then you got to look at it 3 days, and then some people don't drive back fully on their way. 'Cause, like, especially Valcourt in New York, I don't expect everybody to drive straight through because that would be absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
But so you have hotel rooms on the way back and stuff. So I mean, it gets pretty spendy, and I mean, hotels definitely make money off of the snowcross racers every single weekend. So that's a little hurt. But I mean, if you're not spending the money and staying at the track, then I would do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
for the longest. You guys didn't before I got working with you guys had a toy hauler, or not a toy hauler, well, it was a motor home, but
it was a toter home with the stacker trailer. Yeah. And so we had our big trailer as well. So back when you came working for us, that was
2018.
18. So yeah, we had 2 trailers at that time. So we had our motorhome stacker trailer, or toter home stacker trailer, and then we also had our big green trailer that Flipsons now has.
Yeah.
So that was the stacker with, and then that semi had a living quarters in it as well.
Yeah.
So we kind of had our own areas, and then my mom and dad, I mean, last year I stayed in the toter home a few times as well. I mean, I've stayed in the toter home so many times, but I mean, now it kind of hurts now that we don't have that, so now we just have a regular semi and a trailer. So that sucks not being able to stay in there too, because I mean, you cannot, it's comfort of your own home in a way. It's like your home away from home.
Right.
Then you have hotel rooms that you don't bank on if the beds are going to be comfortable enough. And I mean, I look at it, a hotel, it's like you sleep, shower, and leave basically.
Yeah,
I don't really care.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't care at all. I don't care. Just as long as I get a decent night of sleep, that's all I care about. I could sleep on a hardwood floor and I would be just fine. I can sleep anywhere and not have to worry about it. So.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I miss the toter home and everything like that, but I mean, hey, on to bigger and better things.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
But no, I do give not little, but I give that team some credit. I mean, coming out and just racing a 120 out that trailer, I mean, I can imagine the money that the dad is spending to get to the races. So that's one dedicated dad there.
Yeah, and he's from Canada, so a lot of the traveling is far.
Oh yeah, for sure. And yeah, that definitely is not a pretty penny. I mean, I know how much we spend in diesel every season, and I mean, going to and from the races, so that's rough. But
yeah,
I mean, hey, if you're willing to do it, then grow the sport, then why not do it?
Exactly.
I mean, big trailer doesn't mean anything. Look at Jake Yerk. He's in a bumper pole.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and he's doing just fine.
Yeah.
So, taking fourth in points this year. I mean, I give Jake creds.
With a handful of podiums.
Yeah, with a lot of podiums. And, I mean, I'm not discrediting Dan at all, but, I mean.
Well, you went back to back in New York.
Yeah. I mean, that was exciting for us, too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it sucks that Jake didn't win that race because the mishap on the jump on the yellow or whatever. But I was really excited for Dan. But I got to give Jake credit and Kylo credit because, I mean, coming in as the new snowcross team, not really. I mean, Kylo knew exactly what he was getting himself into. But with coming out of a bumper pole and having that many things, that just proves that you don't need a big trailer to do what you need to do.
Yeah, all you're doing is gaining more space in the pro pits.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
No, yeah, especially because you get trying to some of the other smaller teams trying to get up there, and it's just, I mean, hey, why not?
Yeah, for sure.
More room for everybody else.
You know, I'm surprised that he didn't win the parking lot wars because he has such a small trailer.
I am so glad that Steve won it, though. Did you go to the banquet?
I did, yeah. I was there.
His speech at the banquet
was
the
so funny.
Best thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, thanks to AMSOIL for having my truck all ready and whatever.
Who did he say thanks to somebody for getting the turning radius on the truck so we can turn corners faster? And
wasn't that Jeff? No, it wasn't Jeff Foster Trucking. It was one of the trucking companies.
Yeah,
but
Jeff Foster. They sponsor them.
Okay.
And then also thanks to so and so for getting getting the things so we can fit the trailer to the tight fitting spaces.
Yeah.
I thought that was honestly the best speech I've heard that entire night.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, no, I give CTAC credit though. I give CTAC a lot of credit because I mean that's a lot of work to put in there and a lot of thinking.
Yeah.
Like I would have never came up with that at all.
Right.
So it's kind of cool to see that though, but CTAC definitely got some got some fan favorites there on that one, and he deserved that Impact Award too. So.
Yeah, he said that it was all a joke in the beginning of the season. Like, it wasn't even supposed to be anything serious.
No. Yeah, and it turned into something big. So, I mean, next year I hope it turns into something bigger. And, I mean, hopefully everybody still thinks that it's a joke and not an actual contest, because that's exactly what it is. And, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. There was a lot of stuff that happened, like, this season that I think really elevated the series
for sure.
as a whole.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody's definitely doing their parts. I mean, I feel like the vlogging's kind of getting a little out of hand with everybody vlogging, but it's getting a lot more popular now. So it's like, oh, yay, another vlog. But, I mean, it shows the sport of snowcross, though. It shows the real, raw sport of snowcross, and it shows the trials and tribulations behind it, because a lot of people just think, oh, look, a podium. Oh, look, a podium.
Right.
But there's not a lot of real people out in snowcross. I mean, everybody sugarcoats a lot of things, and I feel like a lot of people need to start seeing the real stuff of snowcross, all of like the blood, sweat, and tears that we put in.
Right.
And so, I mean, those vlogs are definitely showing it, but I feel like they're kind of getting overused.
Yeah, there's too many people doing them.
Yeah.
I feel, and how much time can you consume on a vlog? You know?
It's like some of them are 15 minutes plus, 2 to 3.
Yeah.
You can fit in a lot of things in 2 to 3. I mean, maybe pushing 6, but not 10 to 15 minutes for a vlog.
Right.
I mean, the only people that, I mean, I get tired when I do watch like YouTube videos. I get tired of people talking, and then I turn it. And that's so bad for me to say, and I'm sorry, everybody that vlogs. But I mean, just please stop starting the new vlog stuff. It's too much.
There's a few people who started one. Dom Hegman started one.
Yeah.
Justin Blazovic started one. And then there was like...
I mean, SeaTac has had his for years. And then, I know that there's a few other people that started theirs, but it's just... That's not my job to call out people. That's yours. I'm not a Pulp MX over here, as soon as I said that.
I'm not Pulp MX either, but I'll say it as it is.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I like everybody, okay? I don't need anybody on my bad side. That's the last thing that I need.
Yeah, true.
But no, it's fun. I love the involvement with snowcross, because I mean, you look at Duluth, there was so many more entries that we've ever had. I mean, we had record-breaking entries.
Right.
And I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but I mean, it's cool to see, because granted, those vlogs do get more people to come out and start watching and kind of get people interested, but it's just, like I said, it's overused.
Yeah.
I cannot talk.
For sure. And Duluth was, what was it? It was kind of a triple header or double header, because you had those qualifiers on Friday or whatever. What was it called?
The showdown.
Yeah, the showdown
races.
Yeah, the showdown races.
Yeah.
So you had to qualify from each region to get in.
Yeah, and we used to do that every year at Geneva too, but I feel like this year was some of the most people I've ever seen there. And,
a lot of Canadians. Yeah,
there was a ton of Canadians, which was awesome, because some of those Canadians are coming down as well. But there's been a lot more like younger Canadians that have been racing, like Jacquelinas. Yeah. They're from Wyoming, Ontario. I mean, they're 8 to 10 hours away from down here.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, they definitely have quite a bit of a haul, but I mean, that's exactly what we need in this sport. We need a lot more people to come back in and get back to racing, especially the younger kids especially, because I mean, that's the future of our sport right there.
Right.
And everybody says that, and everybody says it, but I mean, that's true. I mean, you don't see anybody in their 15, 20, 30, they're never coming in.
Right.
The only people that are coming in that's older than that is our plus 30 guys.
Yeah.
But they used to race when they were younger, so why not hop on a sled?
Corin Todd.
Yeah, Corin Todd, exactly. Andy Leaders.
Yep.
I mean, Andy Leaders never really retired, but I mean, he's been off and on, but Corin, he retired.
Yeah.
Look at Ryan Frank, he retired.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Devin Denman, he's definitely, I mean, he's one of the top plus 30 riders as well.
Yeah, and he won the championship in what, 22?
Yes. Yeah, 2022, I think is what it was. And so, I mean, good for him. I love our plus 30 riders to death.
I think that's the most exciting class to watch next to, like, Pro Light.
Yeah, for sure. No, there's definitely, I mean, when the old guys wreck, you feel bad.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's kind of interesting because they make it look cool.
They do.
I mean, what it is that they're getting tired and there's stuff like that, so it's just like that. But did you see Devin Denman's wreck in Duluth?
Oh, yeah, right before the finish line, he was going to win. Yeah. I caught that on video. I posted it.
Podium or something like that. One podium or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was rough. I seen that happen, and I was sitting in the booth, and I was watching, and then all of a sudden I just see kind of like a glimpse out of my eye, and I see a sled barrel rolling down the hill. It's like, that did not just happen right before the checkers.
Uh-huh.
And
then Robbie's like yelling on the over. He's like, "Come on, get your tether, go, go, go!"
I know. I literally wanted to cry for Devin.
Yeah.
I wanted to cry for him. I mean, I've had one of those moments in New York. I tipped over I was running second the entire race. It was my rookie year of pro women's. Tipped over right before the checkered flag. Ended up tipping back over myself and getting fifth, but there was some tears shed, and I can only imagine what Devin felt, because, he was really dominant those years, but then there's a lot of people that decided to come and race, and so he hasn't been on the podium as consistent as he wanted to.
Right.
But, I just have to give all the older guys credit, though, for being out there, because their bodies aren't new. They're not like mine and yours.
Yeah, they're dated.
Yeah, they're dated. They're dated.
Well, they are.
You're getting there, but
hey, I definitely can race plus 30, but I don't think I want to. I'm gonna stay behind the camera.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but I feel for those guys. Every weekend I was aching and cracking and not feeling good.
Running around the track and with really cold weather. It wasn't really cold this year, but running around the track in cold weather probably doesn't feel very good on your bones, especially if you did used to race, or because there are some people that record now that used to race, or
right.
Was some things, I should say, not a lot of people, but it's kind of funny.
Yeah. And plus 30, there was a few newcomers, what's his name, that used to race 100 Reimer.
Oh yeah, Milt Reimer.
Yeah, Milt Reimer.
Look at him. He was so fast back in the day. Look at him. He did very well. With not racing a sled for so long, you gotta give him credit. He's an older guy, and he still was out there.
He was still sending it. He was doing doubles down the hill.
Yeah, exactly. I can only imagine how his body felt after the weekend after not riding for so long. But I don't know. I was kind of impressed. And then Bobby LePage, look at him. He got to ride with Cattoos a few years ago, but riding with Thiens, that's a heck of an opportunity, especially with Thiens. Thiens is the new, Thiens, Judnick, Lavalleys, Cattoos, Woodies Racing, they're all some of the top pro teams. And so being able to bring in somebody Bobby LePage just has a big name for himself anyway. Yeah. But with bringing him in, it's not no joke.
Yeah.
So, having some of those bigger teams kind of support you and back you, why not take the opportunity to do it?
Yeah, and I think, I was kind of pondering on this the last couple of weeks. I think Snowcross should have, a vintage class for all the guys that used to race back in, 90s, 2000s, and just,
do
have
one of those,
old sleds.
Yeah, do, one of those, not Triple Crown events, but, one of, the, how they do with snow bikes, 3 rounds a season.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be super sick.
It would be.
Yeah.
I think it'd bring a lot of nostalgia back, and, a lot of the old fan base back into Snowcross.
Yeah, I feel like it would. We definitely have some. You look at the comments on Snowcross and everybody's stuff. It says bring mods back, bring this back, bring these back, and it's never gonna happen, people. Mods are never coming back to Snowcross. Accept the fact. Mods are never gonna come back to Snowcross, but I feel like bringing some of those older sleds back and kind of getting some of the older people back, that would be cool. Because some of these guys that used to race Snowcross, they stopped watching.
Yeah.
It started getting too new for them.
Right.
And that's a lot of stuff nowadays. Stuff is getting too new, so people stop watching, listening, even paying attention to. And that's kind of feel like there's sometimes in Snowcross that's where it's getting.
Right.
It's getting too new. The Triple Crown events, everybody doesn't like them.
Yeah, and my take on the Duluth, the 2-moto format was a Triple Crown, but you're just taking one race away. So it's I don't even know what you would call it, but 2-moto format, it really didn't seem like anything different to me.
No.
Go back to the old format. Everybody seems to like it.
And the only reason why we're doing it nowadays is because, like I said, I give everybody on the ISAC crew props. I got to see the behind the scenes and the hard work and Carl wanting to pull his hair out.
Yeah.
And I see everybody coming up and crying about everything that probably shouldn't be cried about, but I got to see the behind the scenes of that, and all I know is that ISOC is working their butts off.
Oh yeah.
That's plain part to it. Everybody can whine that they want to, but ISOC, yes, is there some of their calls kind of hokey? Yes. Everybody can say that.
Isn't there always some sort of call that's going to be bogus?
Nobody's going to be happy with anything that they do.
Oh, of course not. It's politics.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah, exactly. look at the way that they ended up salvaging this season. And everybody is online crying and moaning about everything, about, they're not going to have enough snow, blah, 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 blah. No, that's not the case at all. That is not the case one bit. If you love a sport so much, you should do it no matter what. I mean, It's a raining moto race. You're going to go do it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a snowcross race. That's snowing. You're going to go do it.
Look at Supercross. What was it last year in New Jersey? They had that rain race. Like, it was completely muddied
to the point where they couldn't even jump the tabletop.
Yeah, exactly. And then they raced in it.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. Yeah, can you? Yes, you have to go through the motors and redo everything, but you got to look at the money that ice hockey is losing.
Yeah.
From the venue. Because they basically,
I'm sure they ate a lot when
Geneva canceled.
Yep.
And I know for sure that they ate a ton of money when New York canceled last year, a couple years ago, whatever. They ate a lot of money, and I know that for a fact because I hear it. They ate a ton of money whenever they canceled that. I mean, because New York is one of their biggest fan-based races.
Yeah,
it's huge. They have everybody from the East Coast come, and look how much. I mean, you look at it, $60 for an entry by how many people?
Yeah.
And then you have all the East Coast snowcross racers that come out too. And some of those East Coast snowcross racers are really, really fast.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that they aren't because, I mean, look at Corin Todd.
Yeah, for sure.
And so it's...
Jesse Kirchmeier,
yeah. So a lot of the East Coast snowcross racers, Alyssa Ashland, she was a really top runner in pro women's class too.
Yep.
So you got to look at it like that. I mean, that's a lot of money that Snowcross missed out on and the city missed out on. So whenever they cancel a race, they lose out on a ton of money. And so I just give them props this season for making whatever worked. I mean, I know that there were some motors that were blown up, but I mean, you blow up motors in bike racing, you blow up motors in car racing, you blow up motors anywhere you go. And so it's just kind of like, we just got to be grateful for what we can do because, like I said, they made a lot of sacrifices this season. And so, I mean, like, was I glad that Geneva got canceled? Yes.
Yeah,
because that would.
time.
But also, look at Sioux Falls. I mean, the track would have been way smaller than Sioux Falls, and Sioux Falls is just as small as Deadwood, if not smaller.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. I didn't get to go because I was hanging out on a cruise ship.
Wow. Look at you, baller.
And I got influenza on the cruise ship on the second day. So,
maybe you should have went to Sioux Falls.
I know, maybe I should have. Everybody else got sick after Sioux Falls, so I mean, at least I got ahead of it before everybody else did.
True.
But, so I mean, looking at it like that, I mean, I'm kind of glad that they canceled Geneva, but...
Did you look at the live cam?
Yeah. Trust me, my dad had me watching it, and my dad was really hoping that they canceled it too. Partially because we didn't want to drive over there, but it was also because, I mean, we didn't want to have to replace motors.
Yeah.
But people, I mean, I've scrolled past so many posts on Facebook. We're not going it was New York. And, I mean, I commented on that post, and I'm not going to lie. I mean, should I have not? Probably not. But I'm just getting so sick of negative people.
Yeah.
I'm kind of living a positive life right now. I don't want anybody to be negative about it. But there was just somebody that posted, oh, we're not going to go to New York because it's all going to be concrete. New York was a really good track.
It snowed.
Yeah, it snowed at New York.
Yeah. How could you not want to go to New York?
Exactly.
There's always lake effect snow there because there's a lake there.
Yeah.
You know, so whether it's going to be a warm day, it's always going to snow at nighttime.
Yeah, and everybody's like, oh, everybody's going to land on the concrete. Everybody's going to get hurt.
Who landed on the concrete?
Nobody landed on the concrete.
No.
So it's just like, I told somebody, I was like, you're always so negative. I was like, why don't we just live a bit of positivity? I mean, at least if you love a sport so much, then go do that sport.
Yeah, and back to what you were saying, Snowcross has been doing so much to make these races happen. Well, why not applaud them?
Exactly.
You know? Like, it is, like, it gives them like satisfaction that people are supporting the sport and not giving negativity. Like, I was clapping the whole season. I was like, they are doing what they have to do to make it happen.
And like we were lucky with Duluth with how much snow they had made at the beginning of the season. And I mean, that was probably the best Duluth track I've ever been to. And I've been going to Duluth since 2011.
Yeah.
So that was the best Duluth track I've ever been to. And I mean, even look at ERX. I drive past there. I mean, I've been driving past there every single Monday since April last year.
Right.
Every single Monday, and they were pumping snow whenever they could.
Yeah.
And I mean, some places don't have the privilege to do that. The reason why ERX turned out so good is because they were able to pump snow when they needed to.
Yeah. And they kind of salvaged it too after the ditch banger because we had that warm spell, but then they blew a little bit and they kind of rejuvenated it.
So they definitely took advantage of the cold weather when they did have, because they have the ability to make snow. They have the snow guns.
Right.
But like you get all these other places, they have nothing.
Right.
They don't have snow guns. I mean, they're not the ISOC crew.
Right. Yeah. So, New York doesn't have any.
Yeah.
Sioux Falls.
Yeah. Sioux Falls doesn't. I don't know. Deadwood was the biggest Deadwood track I've ever seen too.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't get to go, but there was literally there was a bank around the berm that sat higher than the berm, and it was probably 10 feet wide by 20 feet tall.
Over by the podium, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I did notice it.
Yeah, I was standing on it almost both nights, the whole night. So I mean, Deadwood definitely had a ton of snow too, which was really cool. I mean, but besides Deadwood, New York, I would say Duluth and ERX, nobody had snow.
Right.
I mean, we only got to do 8 races this year out of the 9. Valcourt wasn't very good at all.
They had a nice track.
They had a nice snow, but look at the pits. The pits were underwater. I mean,
they were crappy.
No, yeah, and usually for Valcourt to be 45 degrees. I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's unheard of.
I've never seen Valcourt.
And the ice racing kind of sucked.
Yeah.
You ask anybody, the ice racing, like that's the whole point to go to Valcourt is for the ice racing, but they couldn't go to their full potential because the ice was melting.
There was literally water on the track 24/7.
Yeah. I think how they could have saved that is they should have done the snowcross racing last instead of doing 3 races of ice ovals and then 3, like they traditionally do.
Yeah, and I mean, with being in the booth again, we were 4 hours behind the one day.
Yeah.
And
what was that, Friday?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that doesn't get the viewers interested. And then you also look at it with being behind and the schedule not matching up, people at home watching. So I mean, I definitely think that they should do it more in the afternoon, kind of like a supercross race. They do both classes at the end with with the littles at the end too. Do that at the end of the night. I mean, they had to wait. They didn't have any lights on the ice oval track anyway.
Yeah.
So might as well just race.
Exactly.
I mean, the thing that took the longest that also sucked was cautions on the snowcross. I mean, on the ice oval track. I mean, just like car racing, you have to stop for cautions.
Right.
It's not like you can keep on going. So I mean, that took so long whenever they would crash and everything like that, and then also going into the whole fact of the matter of having to blow the track as well.
Yeah.
Having them clean the track. So that was kind of a bummer. I wish that would have ran a little bit more smoothly, but it was definitely a first good year. I can't complain. I mean, we podiumed, so Trent did. So that was exciting. But I mean, would I go back?
It's a toss-up. I feel like it's a toss-up because I
feel like it's very beneficial, especially for Polaris and Arctic guys when they get up on the podium.
Yeah.
Because it means it's Skidoo. That's their Skidoo's test track. I mean,
that's their backyard.
Skidoo's test facility is literally there.
Yeah.
So that's exactly where we're at. But I mean, I would say yes for the fact of brand's sake, and getting like everybody on board, like with like, hey, you podiumed. You're an Arctic, you podiumed at the Skidoo event.
Right.
So I mean, that's kind of exciting. But for it not being a snowcross event, because I'm not expecting any transition junior 120 guys, Sportlight guys to drive up there.
I would keep it as a pro
absolutely terrible.
Only.
Pro events. I mean, you in moto, you have pro only events.
Right.
And so I preferably like that a lot. I like the pro only events and make it a night show out of it.
Yeah.
But also whenever you would like look outside and whenever like the ice ovals got done, everybody left.
I was going to make a point of that.
Nobody was there in the stands.
Snowcross,
no. I mean, because they publicize it as a day event, not a night event.
Right.
So everybody's standing out there. I mean, yeah, it's 40 degrees, but I mean, when it's windy, I mean, it's cold.
Right.
So I mean, I don't necessarily want to stand in 40-degree weather all day, too, because there's nowhere in there to get warmed up.
Right.
There's 0 places to get warm.
Right.
I mean,
you'd have to go in the food tent or something like that.
And there's already so many people in there anyway, so that's the hard part about it. But I looked out the window as soon as like the snowcross races actually like finished up for the night, and I like looked out and I was like, there is nobody here.
Right.
And I was like, oof, like that's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough, and that also hurts. I mean, granted, ISOC had nothing to do with that race. Like, Valcourt took care of everything, grooming the track.
Right.
Like, we tried to get some of our guys to groom, but they wouldn't, like, they wouldn't let us, or, like, they wouldn't let the ISOC crew go, like, do it.
Right.
It was their guys. So, like, everything that we wanted to do, they couldn't.
Right.
So that was rough. That was definitely rough, but it.
Yeah, and there were some issues with flaggers and stuff like that, but you know.
Yeah, their flaggers definitely. Their flaggers aren't trained, like but then their flaggers can't get on the track and help.
Right.
Our flaggers can.
Yeah.
But theirs can't. So then you have to wait for somebody to come over and help you, and then you have to do this and that. It's so much. It's so much more work to have like races like that. But if we were to do like a pro only event that was ISOC based, I feel like it'd go great.
Yeah.
I feel like it would go 100% good and smooth, and especially because, I mean, yeah, there's sometimes that snowcross gets behind, but not Valcourt behind.
No, not 2 hours.
No, 4 hours.
4 hours, sorry.
Yeah,
4
no,
hours.
trust me, I was sitting there bored all day. I mean, and then having no service on my phone, and so I could only use so much of my 3G, my 5 gigs of 3G. Trust me, my eyes were starting to twitch by the end of the night. I wanted to leave so bad, but no, I mean, ISOC gets 45 minutes behind, partially because, I mean, it's mainly injuries, mainly this, mainly that, whatever you want to say. But, I mean, ISOC
they catch up.
Yeah, ISOC does catch up. I mean, they cut out so many grooming breaks, and people's like, oh, the track was rough. We race snowcross.
Yeah.
We're not racing pump bikes.
Right.
We're racing snowcross. So, I mean, you can't knock a rough track. And yes, would I love to race on a completely smooth track? Yes.
That's not realistic.
That's not realistic.
No.
I mean, anybody can be fast on a smooth track.
Yeah.
Anybody can. But that's when the track gets rough. That's when it separates the boys from the men, the girls from the women.
Right.
So, I mean, it's kind of funny to say that, but I mean, you'll never know unless you, like, actually, like, race, and you'll never, not saying that you particularly, but it's like, you'll never truly, like, fully understand. Like, I know some of the races were, but like the fans watching, right? You might think, oh, I could do that. I mean, it wouldn't be that hard if I get some practice in. Try wrestling a refrigerator for 10 minutes, even 5 minutes. I mean, that's the Pro Women's Finals is 5 minutes. Right. I mean, 5 minutes plus one, whatever. But try wrestling a refrigerator for that long, because I mean, you think about it, sleds are 400 to 500 pounds. Yeah. 300 at the absolute least. Right. I mean, that's kind of like the thing that I've been saying for years is try wrestling a refrigerator for 5 minutes and see how that works out for you. Yeah. It's not easy.
No. And I know that firsthand. I used to race motocross quads. Yeah. So it's not an easy fit by any means, and anybody that says it's easy is
no. All you have to do is push a button. Yeah. You know how many times I got that in high school? I was like, that was probably the one thing that I was so glad for whenever I started doing online school was, oh, hey, flunky, how's it going? Because, I mean, I was the person that did not dedicate myself to school. It was dedicating myself to racing. That's all it was. So, I mean, that hurt me. But it was, hey, flunky, how's it going? Or, hey, Rich. I mean, and I'm the person that let that little stuff bother me. And I probably should let it go. But, I mean, a lot easier said than done. But I let little things bother me so much. And so that definitely hurt my feel goods, but it was one of those things. It was like, oh well, okay, kind of got to deal with it. And then I went online, and then I didn't have to worry about those people, and I didn't have to worry about them. Oh, snowcross isn't hard. All you have to do is press a button. And I got this one kid, and
tell me how you feel when you crash.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, it's like, do you want to bust? Because like, and whenever I busted my face open in Fargo, I was getting ready to hit the triple. I'm like, do you want to bust your face off the bars that going off of a 60-foot triple? Please do it. But it's like, I'm not saying that I'm better than you, but it's just like people say that it's easy, and it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would do it. Yeah. And that's such a super common saying in snowcross, because it is. It's literally the 100% the truth. Right. So I mean, that's the hard part. I mean, whatever. I love people.
Yeah, for sure. And you could prove them wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, please go race a snowmobile for 5 minutes. See how that takes you. I mean, the amount of cardio that you
even
need
try
for
to
that.
Start it. Let's see if you can pull start it.
Yeah. No, seriously. Try starting it with one hand. Yeah. Only one arm. You can't use two. Only one arm. Yeah. So I mean, that's the funny thing is like some people are like trying to start it. So
can't even get that full.
If you can't start it, you can't ride it. You have to start it with one arm though. Yeah. Yeah. Can't start with two.
Well, can I have my hand on the throttle? Because sometimes you need to do that?
Yeah. Okay. I'll let you. Well, it's like, I don't know. Sometimes I watch these videos of people cross their arm and then pull it.
Yeah. I don't understand that. Nope. I do. I have my dominant hand on the throttle, and then I pull with my left.
Can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it. I think people are psychotic when they do that.
It'd be It'd be easier to do it on a Polaris and a Skidoo because your arm is naturally going to fall that way.
Oh, yeah.
But cat's in the middle.
Yeah, cat's in the middle. So,
Yeah.
I mean, even the Polaris is in the middle, but to the side a little bit. But still, I would still probably pull like that because, I mean, Arctic cats, they go like this. So you still pull like that anyway. But Skidoo, you'd have to reach around and pull it and stuff.
Yeah,
So.
and then you don't have to move your hands like it's, magic chairs or whatever. Musical chairs.
Yeah, musical chairs. But yeah, no, I feel like I full-heartedly say this, if you crush your hand when you pull it in the middle, you're psychotic.
She's calling all you guys out.
You're psychotic. I don't even care. I'm standing on that because I don't think I can't.
Have you tried it?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah, I tried it once and I couldn't start the sled.
Wow.
I was like, it was awkward.
Uh-huh.
It's like, because, I mean, I've been starting sleds like that since I was 6 years old.
Right.
I mean, granted, I was pulling like this when I was 6 years old. But
With your whole body?
Yeah, I was like, you watch some of the junior kids now that start their sleds, they're literally like, their pull cord hits their helmet and they go, and then they just let go of the pull cord and it slams back down. I'm like, that's great for your recoil. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, I just think it's funny. It's like the little kids that they can't pull it yet. I mean, come on, you got it.
Yeah, right.
And it's just, and I'm not saying anything because they're little, but I mean, just.
And some of those 200s have electric starts now.
That is. I mean, I want that. I want it. You know how much nicer that would be?
Yeah.
Put it in a tether and go, and then done, going.
Yeah, you'd be able to start your sled faster if you crashed.
Yeah, I mean, but then you have electrical problems on top of that and stuff like that. So, I mean, I've had a stator go on one time in my sled.
I was, at Duluth in Sportlight.
Geneva, Sportlight.
Oh, Geneva,
yeah.
Sorry.
Geneva and Sportlight. Yeah, that was the funnest race I think I've ever had. Because I was before Racer Frank got hurt. So I was with Racer Frank, Jordan LaBelle, Jake Belair, Logan Fratellone was still racing.
A lot of fast
There was
dudes.
a lot of fast guys. I mean, look at Jordan LaBelle. He's winning pro races now.
Yeah.
And I mean, I got to say, I beat Jordan LaBelle for 3 laps. Hey.
That's fair enough.
That's good. I got to beat Jordan LaBelle one time. Actually beat him.
When was
and
that?
It was New York in 2017 when we were still in juniors.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think it was Racer. Yeah, it was Racer, me, then Adam Ashline. Yeah, we were still in junior 10 to 13. That was a big accomplishment.
So you beat him on a throttle block?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, it was whenever we were junior 10 to 13. So yeah, but no, I was excited about that.
Did you pull the whole shot and just lead from there?
No, so me and Racer were literally right there together. Mm-hmm. But Jordan jumped the start, so I'm bad on him.
Oh.
So I mean, I still beat him though. Okay.
Yeah, that's his fault, not yours.
Yeah, I'll take a win over a win.
Yeah.
But hey, look, I beat Adam Ashline too.
Hey, that's fair.
I know, it's like you go back and look.
A win.
You go back and look at the video, and Adam goes, "Yeah, if the cautions weren't on, if I had one more lap, I would have beat her."
Oh, sore loser.
And Adam's a good friend, but it's kind of funny because it's just like, I would have beat her if I had one more lap. And I'm like, well, you didn't.
I beat you.
I take it. But I know, and it's like the same thing with the whole stator situation. Because I mean, I got this rockin' whole shot.
Yeah, you did all the way up the hill.
Yeah, you posted a video, the GoPro video. Mm-hmm. I like how you edited in that cut. How I got the whole shot and I went, and then on the downhill you edited the 2 videos together.
Oh yeah, I kind of spliced them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was funny because I was waiting for that and I was like, what? Because what happened was is that I didn't triple the first lap.
Yeah.
So I didn't triple the first lap. That's how Racer got past me because he was able to get the momentum and the rhythm like going through because that corner's like, I wouldn't say a corner, but that straightaway is awkward because it curves anyway. So you have to get a good rhythm or else you're literally like stopping, turning type of thing. And so Racer got past me, and then in the video, I was still ahead of Racer. He never passed me. And then you go back up the hill, and then when you're coming back down the downhill, all of a sudden you see Racer kind of just appear right there.
Yeah.
And it was like, I mean,
like a glitch.
And it was like, but no, it was like my perfect timing when my head went down and he just appeared. So it was like that was like the best editing that I've ever seen from you.
Wow. Okay.
That was probably the best cutting editing that I've ever seen from you.
Well, I wanted the part of you doing the triple after the finish.
And that was the second lap too. That was the best part. That was the second lap because I overjumped that triple and bashed my face off the bars and that wasn't full throttle either. that wasn't full throttle. So if I would have gave it full throttle, I probably could have caught it that.
Yeah.
That's no
I know.
joke.
When I watched, I was like, man, if she would have just held wide open.
Yeah, I probably would have caught it. It would have been huge because that triple was so big.
Yeah.
That quad would have been huge. But
was that the same year that Katu did the quad?
Yep. Yeah, that was the same year. And so, it's just funny to look back at that because I ran third. I mean, Jordan got past me. He got past me the next 2 laps after that. So it was like I think he got past me with 2 laps left to go or something like that. Mm-hmm. And on the very, very last lap, we had the tabletop, the big uphill, downhill. Then it would like check back up, and then it was like the corner or whatever. Going back up that uphill, my stator just, all of a sudden my stator just died. Like my sled literally just went, ooh. And I looked down, my tether's still plugged in, trying to pull it, nothing. Absolutely nothing.
And didn't you guys replace it before that race?
No, so we've never replaced in the, how many years before that of racing snowcross, we've never replaced a stator. And all of the pro sleds when Johan, Nisa, Montana, Tyler, nobody. We've never replaced a stator in our entire lives.
Wow.
And it was just that one freak accident that God goes, you're done.
Oh.
It's like, and I'm like fully believer if God has a plan for everybody. Might not be the plan that we want, but that was the plan. And he said, psych, and pressed the pause button on my sled and just went and done. And then Jake Belair on the podium because he ended up finishing third. Mm-hmm. And we were coming to the checkered flag, too. That was the worst part about it. It's like, it wasn't even 1 flag left to go. We were literally coming to the checkered flag, so I literally had a quarter of a lap.
I thought you had 2 laps to go. No?
That was the last lap. So whenever, like, the mole medical, so Amy came over and a bunch of flaggers came over, like, we got to get the sled off the track, Like, and I'm screaming, crying, because I'm like, what is going on? They're like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not okay. My sled just died. And they're like, oh. And I go, like, we got to get the sled off the track. Okay, are you okay? Let's go. So I'm like, it was the last lap anyway. There's nobody coming around. And I literally screamed it. And I said sorry to them, but I was like, because I was screaming at Amy the most. And I love Amy to death.
Yeah.
Me and her are super, super good friends. But I was like, it was the last lap anyway. And she goes, oh. And so then she kind of, like, understand why I was, like, crying. And Jake Blair up on the podium, he's like, yeah, Taven was pretty far ahead of me, but she must have pulled her tether cord or something, which is stupid. But I mean, I'm just happy to be up here. I'm like, thanks, Jake. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Wow.
But yeah, no, that was funny. I mean, I definitely miss racing with the boys. I mean, I thought it was cool that Malene raced in sport this season. I mean, it sucks that she didn't. I mean, I should say this season, but in Duluth, but I mean, it sucks that she didn't podium with them or even like make the finals. But I mean, that's probably some of the funnest racing I've ever had growing up was racing with the boys, and I feel like it's made me a lot more ballsy and a lot more aggressive. I mean, coming into my first year of pro women's, I was hitting all the triples that the sport guys were doing, sport light guys were doing. Like I have a video of me in. So I won my first weekend in Deadwood because that was the weekend that Caden busted his face. The weekend after that in New York, I got like kind of back-to-back wins, I should say, because it was Saturday to Friday. But I ended up winning on Friday, and what helped me out was I just busted out the triple right off the bat going into the rhythm section. And ice hockey tracks back then were so much harder than how they are now.
Yeah.
Like they were a lot more technical now. Now it's just a whoop section and a whoop section and a whoop section and a whoop section. And it's peaky stuff now. I mean, which is kind of hard.
Right.
But I mean, I would much rather take the whoops over like the couple doubles that they have in a section.
Yeah.
And so I remember busting out this huge triple and then landing it literally perfect and then double. The one time that I didn't double that whole entire race, or the one time I didn't triple that whole race, was the time that I almost died. And so it was just like, and so I was like, I almost went over the bars and ate shit. Shnikes.
It's okay, you can swear.
I almost ate crap on that, but that was fun. I ended up getting a win off that, but I was like the only one that was doing like all the big jumps. Like when I first started now, like over the years, the girls have started jumping bigger and everything like that. But I kind of like held myself to like that kind of like, okay, I can jump bigger than everybody else. So that was that was a lot of the advantage that I had on some of the other girls. Like the next season, we went to Jackson, or it was that same season or something like that. We went to Jackson Hole, and there was a triple coming down the downhill. That was, I got
was
a really
that 19?
May have been 19. May have been 18 or 19.
Because 19 was the last year we went there.
Yeah, so yeah, it was that rare. And so I got a amazing hole shot. Megan got caught up in the back. Malene was on my butt the entire time. And then here comes Megan out of the blue. But the only thing that saved me that entire race was I was hitting that downhill triple. And it wasn't smooth.
Right.
It wasn't smooth, but I was just able to jump a little bit further, and jumping further would made me miss all the holes.
Right.
So I mean, I feel like with like racing with the boys, it made me more ballsy, so because you had to do the stuff that they were doing.
Yeah.
Or else you either get landed on or you would just fall behind.
Right.
And so I mean, doing that, it made me a more of an aggressive rider, but not as smooth.
Right.
So I'm not a smooth rider at all. I am absolutely.
Back to the riding and the rough stuff.
Yeah. And I'm really, really good at riding in the rough stuff. But being smooth, 100% no. And that's one thing that I do have to work on, but I am not a smooth racer one bit. I mean,
well, look at Tucker. He was a smooth rider, but he was riding it like he was riding the rough stuff in a very technical and smooth approach.
Oh, 100%,
you know?
yeah. No, and you look at the Arctic Cat racers now, even like the last like few years before, like after Tucker retired, you look at the Arctic Cat racers now, their feet are back. Their feet are always back in the middle of the sled because like the Arctic Cats are a little bit more front heavy, so they dip down a little bit more. And so, but then when also you hit a jump like this, it stops you too because all your momentum's going away.
Right.
But and so you look at all of the other snowcross racers or other Arctic Cat racers, they ride with their feet back. Tucker never moved his feet once.
Right.
Every single picture that you see, Tucker has his feet in his stirrups or about that far back.
Right.
Never has his feet back at all. And I was watching his videos. I was like, and they're like, my team, Caden especially, you need to get your feet back. You need to get your feet back. I'm like, look at Tucker Hibbert. And he goes, he's also 6 inches taller than you two. I'm like, okay, you got a point. Because, Tucker was 6 foot taller or whatever, like, or even taller than that, 6'3" or something. I'm 5'2.5". I just got measured today. And so, with me being like that, it definitely doesn't help my case.
Right.
And so I need to get my feet back more. But, riding, like I said, riding with the boys definitely made me a little bit more aggressive. But I also ride with my nose straight up in the air. And I, do that when I should be riding like this and, like, hitting into the jumps and skipping across the tops of them. But, there's, like I said, they're still learning. Because, I just started learning that in the middle of last year. The middle of I need to start skipping across the tops of jumps. So.
Well, and I'm sure with you being, on the shorter spectrum, I'm not calling you short by any means, but like compared to a Nana, she rides like that.
Yeah.
It's the front is up a lot.
And it helps you, and it kind of helps us get up and over stuff.
Yeah.
Because she's like 2 inches shorter than me. She's like 5 foot even.
Yeah, but you don't have to shave your seat.
I do.
Oh, you do?
It's not as shaved as down as far as hers because, like, with the Polaris seats, if you shave it down an inch and a half, it's very dramatic.
Right.
But with the Arctic Cat seats, how I get my seat custom tailored and everything like that and custom fit, it doesn't look as bad.
Yeah.
But also,
I wouldn't have done that.
I ride with running board risers too. Sometimes, I took them off half the way through the season, but I ride with running board risers about that tall.
Okay, fair enough.
So that also makes me look a little bit bigger on the sled.
Yeah.
Because I also drop my steering post too. I ride with a 1 inch steering post or 1 inch steering thing, and it also helps for cornering and stuff like that. So I make myself bigger on the sled because that's the way I need to be to ride it comfortably. But the only problem with the running board risers that it makes me so much taller is that it wants to throw me over the bars.
Yeah.
And so that's another problem. So you can never.
Well, and having the shorter bars too, because you're leaning over the bars even more. And
so like with that, it's you can't get everything that you can possibly want. So you got to take what you can get.
Yeah.
There's a lot of testing that I want to do for this next season. I want to make sure that I'm 100% good to go, and a lot of suspension testing because I didn't really get that over the last few years. It was kind of just like okay, let's work on the pros and then let's work on Taven, not let's work on Taven with the pros type of thing.
Right.
So it's
you have pro in your name. Yeah.
Pro women.
Yeah.
But no, it's always been like pro or pro light. You gotta like edit it in there. Pro women.
Yeah.
I'll do that.
I'll do like the SpongeBob imagination.
Yeah.
With the sparkling.
Yeah. So, like, with the pro women class, I mean, women are definitely 100% overlooked in the sport. Mm-hmm. In the last 3 years, they definitely come up through the ranks. Like, now you watch, like, you look at the comments on Facebook, because, I mean, I'm all about, like, and I know I should not be like this, but I'm all about what people think. Like, I'm like, and I'm not going to change my personality for that, but I'm like,
knowledge is power.
Yeah. And so I read a lot of the comments and stuff like that, partially because I'm the drama queen and I love to read drama and stuff like that too. So, I mean, I like to read everybody's nasty comments when they do post. So that doesn't help my case either. But, like, I like to look and stuff like that, and, I mean, I gained something off of that, and a lot of people love watching the pro women's now. Mm-hmm. A lot of people absolutely love watching pro women. So, I mean, that's a huge, like, step up for us.
Right.
And it's like, because pro women are always in the back. Pro women were always, like, put on the back burner, put on everything. And so now it's just like, okay, it's me, Malene, Inanna, Tasha, Krissa. Like, it's now, like, we're the faces.
Right.
And it's nice to see, because before they never used to include pro women at all. Not at all. And now, like, the backdrops whenever you walk into the thing and where it says Amstel Championship Snowcross, Malene's on that poster.
Yeah.
Before, women weren't on that.
Right.
And so over the last few years, I mean, it's definitely been a little bit more like, we're here. And I feel like me and Malene especially, because she's, I mean, we all know Malene, we love her to death. She's very, I'm here, and very, I wouldn't say outspoken, but she's very loud.
Yeah.
She's very, not like voice loud, but she's very like, okay, like this is, like, she posts everything. I mean, she swears in her posts, and I mean, I'm not about that, but, like, she swears in her posts, and she's very, very, very extremely realistic. Mm-hmm. She'll say what she wants, and she'll say what she wants in her posts, which is good for her. I mean, not gonna lie, that's 100% amazing for her and everything. So I feel like that's kind of brought pro women as well, because somebody's showing the real side of it.
Right.
And, like, a nowadays person type of thing.
Right.
It's showing them, like, now people are a lot more, like, outspoken, a lot more swearing, a lot more, like, they're not as conservative as they used to be.
Right.
And so Malene is one of those people that are like, okay, let's hit on this hard. And I mean, everybody loves her. She's one of the top followed women. Granted, she has people from Norway and stuff like that.
Right.
And here, but everybody loves Malene because she's so realistic.
Yeah.
And so I give her props, because she's definitely the one, I feel like, that she's opened up snowcross a little bit more to that. But also the good racing has brought in more as well.
Yeah, for sure.
So that
being 4-time pro champ, pro women champ.
Exactly. So, but, like, I mean, hopefully I end that so she's not 4-time anymore. 1 time for me. Trust me, I am gonna own the day when I beat Malene in a championship. I mean, who wouldn't?
Yeah.
I mean, look at Elias. Whenever he won, whenever he was the first person to be crowned, or Cody Cam, that was a good example. Yep. Whenever he won the championship over
17,
Tucker Hibbert.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why wouldn't you put yourself on that pedestal?
Yeah.
I mean,
sure.
I feel like whenever
you're the best in the world at that point.
I know, yeah. I feel like wearing the number 1 was a little bit, I don't know. I don't like when people use the number 1.
Why?
I hate it.
Why? You're number 1. You're the best in the world.
There's always somebody bigger and badder than you that can always beat you.
So why not wear the number 1? Because you were number 1 at that time. So now everybody's out there chasing you, and if you get beat, now it's your time to shine and defend your title. I
feel like, and this is just like kind of like my personal opinion, but like you look at it, people who wear the number 1 never, like, granted for Supercross is different because you have to wear the number 1.
Yeah.
But like I feel like when people wear the number 1, they always do worse the next year.
It's a big target on your back, and you have all that pressure.
But look at Tucker Hibbert. He never wore the number 1 once.
Yeah. Well,
Tucker Hibbert. But
yeah, absolutely. I think he's an exception, but like, I understand why people don't wear the number 1, because it's like, well, we kind of want to keep the tradition of just racing with our number and whatever. Because wasn't Tucker the one that started that whole deal? With like, not running number 1?
And I would think so, yeah. I mean, I've never seen anybody else not run number 1 but him.
Right.
So I personally, like,
I don't think Robbie did when he won the championship.
I don't think he did either.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm not for sure of like really anybody who's ever ran the number 1.
Right.
I mean, no dig dog to Cody Cam, but I feel like he's really the only one that did it.
Yeah.
Elias Eschel had a number 1 on his plate.
Yeah.
But he never
had the number 1 on his jersey, on his race plates, nothing.
No. And so, I mean, I personally don't think I would run the number one. Mm-hmm. I feel like I said, I feel like there's always somebody bigger, badder than you out there that can always beat you.
For sure.
And there is. I mean,
that's in every sport.
Yeah. And so I feel like, I don't know, I wouldn't say it's a cocky thing, but I just feel like it's like, ugh, it kind of makes me cringe a little bit.
I do feel like it's a snowcross tradition that you kind of have to run your number that you've won. If you won the championship, then it's like, all right, well, just keep it going, to run like Elias runs 200, even when he wins the championship. I think it's a cool thing, just for the rich history of snowcross.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like kind of something that, I don't know, I could never do. Mm-hmm. But it's mostly fine.
Yeah, whatever. So I've kind of had this thought, I think I just lost it now, but what is your take on like women going into the sport or sport-like classes and kind of being racing with the boys?
I feel like it's 100% beneficial.
Yeah.
For the boys and girls. I mean, if your girl's faster than a boy, then sucks to suck.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these boys that are losing to women in general. I mean, granted, it may be their first years, and women just. We're not as strong. We're definitely not as strong as what boys are. We're not. Yeah. We don't have. I mean, I'm gonna play the whole women in sports card. I'm not gonna lie.
What is a woman?
Yeah. What is a woman? I'm gonna 100% agree with that. Mm-hmm. I mean, they say men can't be in women's sports, which I 1,000% agree with, but. Yep. Then it's like sometimes it says like the roles reverse, women can't be in men's sports. I'm like,
that's a different. I think
whenever a woman wins or like beats guys, it is the most like confident feeling a woman could ever have, through and through.
Right.
I feel like
I personally wouldn't want to beat a woman because it's not going to make me feel good. But if a woman were to beat me, congrats to you because you did a lot harder work than I did.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, yeah, we're racing the same pace. We're putting in as much effort as each other. But I mean, at the end of the day, racing at the end of the day comes down to who's the better racer in general. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's not about sleds. It's about the skill of the racer.
Right.
And so, I mean, if a woman has a better racer than you, I mean, or maybe they got lucky. But
still, a win is a win.
But yeah, I know, exactly. And it's like maybe they got lucky, maybe they got a good start, and maybe they fell back. But you didn't come forward fast enough or past them fast enough to get to beat her.
Right.
And so, I mean, like I said, when Malene won, or when Malene raced in sport, that was awesome. I mean, yeah, she take last in her heats. Yes, but her heats were stacked. Her heats were hard.
Yeah, she had, Cameron Cole?
She had Cam Cole. She had Brandon Nilsson. She had, I'm almost positive she had Kellen Shepard in there. That's your top three in sport right there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's hard. Mm-hmm. It's not going to lie. It's hard. And I know for sure Cam Cole and Brandon Nilsson were in a heat together. And I think Kellen was in his own heat too, or heat with one of them too. So, I mean, there's top two spot right there.
Yeah.
And there's only 6 racers in it.
Right.
Malene being third. So, I mean, there's only 3 other racers to beat in there. But still, I mean, sport, guys, I mean, there was a bunch of different people up on the podium every single race.
Right.
I mean, there wasn't consistently those top 3.
Right.
And so it was multiple different people on multiple different podiums. And I got to see that because I was the one interviewing them.
Right, yeah.
So I would know. But yeah, so it's like we never really consistently had Cam, Kellen, and Brandon Nilsson on the podium together. We never had that.
Right.
Maybe once or twice.
Yeah, even Meyer was on the podium at ERX, but he wasn't consistent.
Yeah, no. And so you got to look at it like that, is that there's been so many other podium places, like so many people on the podiums. And Meyer was in one of those heats with Malene when she got last in that heat.
Right.
But once again, she's out there doing it, and she got some gnarly hole shots too. Like, she ran with the boys, and then she eventually fell back because, once again, we're not as strong. We're not as, like, they can hit a lot of stuff, and their bodies can absorb a lot of, like, the more heavier stuff that ours can.
Right.
But, I mean, if I 100% fully, 1,000 million % would encourage a woman to go race with a boy at least once.
Yeah, and even, go ahead.
Maybe they might get their butts kicked.
Right.
I mean, it shows how you prove with them.
Right.
I mean, look at Kendall Rose. She chose to not race with the boy. I mean, she chose to not race with the women and race with the boys. Did she get her butt kicked? Absolutely. But who wouldn't?
Now she's like, what, top 5?
Yeah, she's definitely not doing bad.
No.
No, I mean, granted,
she pulls whole shots too.
Her dad definitely has her clutching figured out.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing, is she gets lucky with the whole shot, so she's able to stay up front a lot. But, I mean, I'm not dogging her. She's a good racer. But, I mean, I feel like she needs a little bit more consistency and a little bit more experience underneath her belt to actually, like, move forward in the class. I mean, because she did wreck and she was 15th, and she made her way up to top 10 or something like that. But, I mean, I feel like it's more experience that when it comes down to that, though.
Right.
I mean, she just turned 15. She was 14 during the season. I mean, it's her first year on a full throttle sled too. So that's also not helping her case.
Right.
But I mean, I got to give her props. For her to choose to run with the men versus the women, I mean, kudos to her.
Well, and last year didn't she break her femur, right?
She tore ACL.
Okay, so she did. She had an injury, and she's hopping back on she did a full season this year. So it was like, she had that too. She was fresh, but she didn't have race speed on her side.
Yeah.
You know?
And so, I mean, she did take off a little bit. I mean, I talked to her a lot. I mean, whenever I talked to her at Heydays, she was 6 months along. Mm-hmm. And the stupidest thing that doctors make you go do is do this testing. And what it is they literally strap you into this machine just like this, and they strap down your legs, they strap down your arms where you can only hold something like this, and you can't move your body at all, and they make you kick. Don't ask me why they make you kick. I mean, we're not kicking in snowcross. Number one, that's so hard on your quad, and whenever I did it, I felt it straight in my inner knee. I didn't even feel it in my quad. So number one, it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Number two, they said that I only had 50% quad strength. And I was 8 months along at this time.
What?
I only had 50% quad strength, and this is when I tore my first ACL. Mm-hmm. And this recovery went by 10 million times faster. I was doing 30-inch box jumps by 5 months. Like, that was literally, I was doing 30-inch box jumps by 5 months, and whenever I tore my ACL in August, that's what I was doing, was box jumps, because, I was 5 months along again. And so, why not do a box jump? I was able to do it, and I was ready. I did 8 at 12 inches, and then I moved up to 24 inches, landed the first one hard, landed the second one extremely soft, and before my foot even left the ground on the third one, my knee popped. That's whenever I tore it. Yeah, so I 1000% do not agree with the testing that they do. But then, they tested my one-legged squat, like my pistol squat. My form was better on my surgical side because I trained my form.
Yeah.
But they said that I couldn't go down as far because my quad strength was bad. Realistically, I have 0 cartilage in my left ankle, and I have no tendons and ligaments holding my right ankle together. My ankle flexibility does not go much more past 90. So it was the fact of I couldn't get my knee to go forward even more to let me bend down as much because I didn't want to literally my chest be laying on my knee whenever I went down.
Right.
So, that still happened with her, is that she went and got tested, and so she took off. She went and got tested, I don't even remember. It was before the season started, and then she decided to ride. She did not, and then she went and got tested again. She took off, and then she went and started racing again. So I feel like that kind of hurt her as well. Whenever she got tested, is because I told her straight at the beginning, do not listen to what they say. They're going to tell you that you have 50% muscle in your quad, and that's exactly how it's going to be.
Right.
That's what they told her. So I truly feel like she let that get to her mind a little bit. Maybe she may have had a little bit of pain, but I don't feel like 3 weeks of staying off of it is going to take that pain away.
Right.
So once again, she's a good, really, really good little racer, but I feel like she kind of got that testing in her mind a little bit than she should have, because you only have 50% quad strength. No, that's not how it is.
Right.
And so I was frustrated whenever I did mine. They wanted me to go and get tested again in a month, 2 months, 1 month, 2 months after I did mine. I never went back. And right after that, and before that, I was doing, like I said, I was doing box jumps.
Right. So
I was getting the landing motions. I was getting everything like that. I haven't had a single problem with this knee since now. Knock on wood, but I haven't had any problems with this knee since, and this knee works super, super good. Now, when I tore this one, it was a freak accident. Whenever I tripled down the downhill, my foot was turned out, and my knee went forward.
Oh.
So that's exactly what happened. And if you watch the video back, I landed it, and then 2 seconds later, Malene landed it, and she landed the exact same way that I did. So it wasn't the way that I landed, it was the way that my foot was positioned.
Right.
So that's honestly what we think, because after I tore my ACL, that's what hurt the most, was whenever I tore, like, you turn your foot out right now and you push your knee forward, it doesn't really hurt. Mine hurt really bad. Like, that's the way that it tore. I mean, I may be wrong. Maybe I did land it.
Jarring.
Yeah.
You know?
And maybe I did land it wrong. Maybe I'm just kind of making this whole thing up, but that's truly what I feel. And so. Well,
you know your body better than anybody else.
Exactly. So, I mean, and then whenever, like I said, it was a total freak accident when I tore it the second time. My doctor goes, oh, maybe it was when I talked to him on the phone, whenever he hey, yeah, your ACL's torn, whenever he called it, but I want you to come in for a consultation to, like, make sure that it's torn, because I want to see it in person, because whenever I had told him, like, hey, because when I tore it, Kelsey, my physical therapist, and we went back into the room, because she's, like, a very hands-on physical therapist. Like, whenever, like, your first weeks of recovery, she's very cupping, needle, rock blading, like, based. And so, she brings me back into, like, her actual office, and she starts poking needles in the back of my leg, because I was like, Kelsey, it hurts right in the back, and it's like, I think I tore my ACL, and she goes, maybe we were just hoping that the tendon snapped. I mean, we got the clear to go. We've been easing into agility jumping stuff for the last month, so, I mean, hopefully we're good. Hopefully it's just something inconvenient. Well, then, she needled my back of my knee. She taped it. I went to We Fest up in Grand Rapids or whatever for a music concert there. Whenever I took my tape off that end of the weekend, there was bruising on the back of my knee. And it was just very, very little, but I was like, okay, maybe that's from the needle that she stabbed in the back of my leg, because sometimes it does hit some blood vessels and it pops or whatever, so it causes some bruising. So then when I went in, Caden had a car race that Tuesday. It's called the Little Dreams, like a $30,000 to win race. Yeah, that's
a good payday.
Car racing pays extremely good money.
Wow.
But yeah, it's like a $27,000 to $30,000 race. It's all brought in by sponsors and people betting.
Oh, okay.
And so it's like people putting in money, or like, so there's somebody that can, you can, at that race, you can go in and like, I want to put $20 on 12th place. So, I mean, everybody from 12th, or from 1st to 26, how many racers start the race. So they all get a payout, and they all get, like, at least their entry fee back, which is $60, I think, for that race. So somebody can go, I want to put $20 on top of 12th place. I want to put $150 on top of 4th place. And so they get that money at the end of the night. Well, at that race, Caden got a flat tire, and I was jacking because, I mean, you can change flats on a caution or whatever.
Yeah.
I was jacking up the car, and, like, I was bending down on this knee, and I had this knee, like, kind of, like, straighten out, and my knee caved in. I was like, my ACL's torn. So I went and got an MRI. I called my doctor and said, hey, there's bruising on my knee, and my knee popped really funny. He goes, well, I don't want to take any chances. I'm out until the next week. I'm going to write you a prescription for MRI. Go get it done, and I'll let you know. So we went and did that or whatever, and I mean, this is my third ACL, so I know what everything means.
Yeah.
So I got my chart results. I looked. I was like, yep, I tore my ACL again.
Man.
So it was a good thing that it was just partially torn in my meniscus. If they just, honestly, I don't think it was even torn. I think they just cleaned up some scar tissue that was already in there.
Yeah.
And it was an ACL as well. So, I mean, the meniscus part was good that I didn't tear that again. But,
yeah, that would have been, another 6 months?
Meniscus just makes it a lot harder to walk. So that's like 6 weeks that you can't walk on. So, I mean, whenever I first tore it, I was on crutches for 4 to 6 weeks. This time I was literally able to walk the next day when it's just your ACL.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, that's whenever I found out that my ACL was torn. And so when he called me on the phone, whenever he got my results on Monday, because we had an appointment scheduled for Wednesday or something that week. So he called me on Monday morning. He goes, hey, Taven, it's Dr. Arthur. I was like, okay, well, I knew he called me. I knew there was a problem.
Right.
It's like, my ACL is torn, isn't it? He goes, yeah, it is, blah, 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 blah. And we were talking. He's like, by the sounds of the story you told me, it may have been partially torn to begin with. I was like, for one, how would it have been partially torn?
Yeah, and how didn't you guys pick that up?
Yeah, no, and it's like, a partially torn ACL would have hurt. A fully torn ACL doesn't hurt.
It's like a sprain versus a break.
Yeah, like I was, like, whenever I tore it the first time, I think I had some bone bruising from, like, my tibia plateau, so that was probably the reason why I couldn't walk for a week after I tore my ACL the first time. But the second time, I walked out of physical therapy. I literally walked up the stairs out of physical therapy.
Jeez.
And went home. and stuff like that. But whenever I went into the office the next day, he goes, yeah, I don't know. That's weird. I don't think you should have been doing that. I don't think you should have been jumping at that point. When I literally a month before that was my 4-month appointment. Yeah, you can start doing agility work. You can start jumping. So like I said, we eased into it for a month before we started actually jumping, and my box jumps felt great. I mean, I was landing soft, so I didn't have to worry about it. I wasn't landing super hard. And then the day of surgery, I didn't give you the clear. You shouldn't have been doing that anyway. I didn't give you the clear to do that. So his story changed 3 different times.
What?
Yeah. And, I mean, this is the doctor that did my first knee. He did Caden's collarbone. I mean, he does awesome work. But I just feel like he was trying to cover his butt because I felt like there was something realistically wrong that shouldn't have been done. So, that was probably the hardest part was, like I said, I had to start completely over.
Yeah.
Literally from day one. So, I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, God has a plan, but just not ours. So, I mean, that's the hard part.
Yeah. No more injuries.
No more injuries.
No.
That's the goal.
You got to win a championship.
I got to win a championship. That's the plan.
Yes. So then going into this season, you're feeling good. You're going to do everything that you can. I kind of want to touch on something a little bit. When Megan retired, did you feel like she kind of retired at the wrong time?
Yes. I feel like she retired out of spite.
Yeah.
I feel like she did. I mean, people, they still call her the true champion, which may have been, but in the video it's clearly, and there's a flag right there, but there's another angle of the view where she didn't look when she got back on the track. She just got right back on the track.
Right.
I mean, Malene beat her by 1 point, so I mean, that's one position. I mean, Malene won the race because Megan didn't look back.
Right.
And so it was kind of rough to begin with. I mean, she got knocked back 3. She got docked 3 points. She finished 4th technically. So, I mean, I think Malene would have won the championship. I may be wrong, but I think Malene would have won the championship because Malene won by 1 point. Mm-hmm. So, doing math, I mean, like I said, I truly don't know. But it was one of those things that I feel like she feels like ISOC made the wrong call. And maybe they did, maybe they didn't. But in the video, there's a clear video of her looking back. And so I feel like she retired more out of spite because ISOC made the wrong call. And you can tell it was kind of the pressure was getting to her. And like we've butted heads so much. Me and Megan have, but it was more me and Patrick. Mm-hmm. Me and Patrick butted heads so much. I mean, most people know some of the stories that have happened. Yeah. And I mean, he tried to DQ me and get me DQ'd because I didn't have
pink on your number, right?
I didn't have the right color. I had white number plates.
Yeah.
Or I didn't have you had
an outline.
Yeah, white outline on my number plates, or my numbers weren't the right color.
Right.
And I won that night. He tried to DQ me for that.
But that was only on your front number on your hood.
It was on my hood. It wasn't even on my sides.
Yeah.
It was the Cats. We ended up like painting our windshields.
Yeah.
So it was literally just the black windshield with 873 with like black border with white in it.
Yeah.
That was what it is. Apparently you need to have pink. So he tried to DQ me for that. So they gave me a warning. So I got it changed for the next race, but that's what he tried to DQ me for.
Right.
And I mean, if he listens to this, I'm sorry to be saying all this, but I mean, it's kind of like the thing that triggered me the most. And he said some stuff to me at Deadwood, and it really got me upset. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I was on crutches. It was the week after my first surgery, and he was kind of saying some stuff that I'll never be as fast as Megan, that I've never fairly beat Megan. It's like, Patrick, I know a couple times that I have, but I'm not going to argue.
Right.
And he made me feel very, very low. He made me feel extremely low. So I go back to the trailer and I'm bawling. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden here comes, my dad kind of goes, what's up, what's going on? So he talked to Scott very, very nicely, because that's when they're running for Anderson's. He talked to Scott and goes, hey, like, this is what happened. Well, then Patrick comes up to me the next day and says, your daughter's an effing liar to my dad. And for anybody that knows Paul Woodie, you never say anything like that.
Right.
And so, that kind of gotten out of hand, and Patrick never talked to me a single day after that. Mm-hmm. And so, I started cheering for Malene. Granted, Megan beat me multiple years and stuff like that, and I was beating Malene at that time. So, of course, I want to see somebody new up on the podium.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I started cheering for Megan after that, but Megan and Patrick had nothing to do with me after that. And, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, if they were to come up and talk to me tomorrow, I would be civil, because I don't really.
It's water under the bridge now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's been 4 years,
right.
3 years. I mean, so who cares? I mean, I seen them at Valcourt. I smiled, I waved. I didn't get anything back from them. But I mean, it was one of those things that, I mean, they posted something that they went to Valcourt, they seen or whatever, and they kept on commenting Megan was the true champion. I mean, like I said, maybe she is, maybe she isn't. I don't care anymore.
Right.
I mean, it's not my championship. I didn't win it. Yeah. I have nothing to do with that. It's not my ordeal. But it's like, I feel like she retired out of spite. I feel like if the pressure got to her and Patrick were kind of butting heads. I mean, everybody that raced pro women's knew that. Everybody that knows that knew that, because I mean, that's whenever Jake became her mechanic. Jake DeSilva became her mechanic. So, I mean, everybody knew that they were butting heads. And so I feel like she just kind of wanted to get out, and that was a perfect time for her to get out.
Right.
And she retired out of spite because of it. And I mean, whatever, good. I mean, she had an amazing year. She had 3 championships.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, now she's 24, 25. She has an amazing boyfriend. They bought a house. I mean, they bought land. They're building a house. I mean, it's life. I mean, like I said, there's a lot more to racing after snowcross, and she has a amazing gig with Skidoo. She's working for Skidoo now, and so maybe that opened up a door for her too.
Right.
I mean, maybe she may have already had that job lined up, but now she's graduated from college. She can start a family now without having to worry about racing.
Right.
I mean, nowadays, women producing kids is getting lower and lower and lower in age. You can't wait until you're 30, 35 like how you used to. It's getting a lot harder, so might as well start when you're younger. Be able to run with your kids when you get older, because if you racing snowcross, it's going to be a lot harder to run with your kids, because you're going to be able to feel every single jaunt and move that you do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, I feel like she retired out of spite, but once again, there's so much more to life outside of snowcross that I feel like she got out at the right time as well.
Yeah. For sure.
So, I mean, that's my opinion on that. That's my take. I mean, do I wish that Megan still raced? Do I wish I could have raced with her a couple more years, because I only got to race with her a couple years? Yes, I really do. But also, she was the top woman whenever I won my first race.
Right.
I beat her a couple times really, really fairly. And so that was probably the highlight of my racing career. Or it's like, that's always going to be the highlight of my racing career, is whenever I beat one of the top women. That's been Megan and Malene.
Right.
So, I mean, it kind of sucks. I wish it would be like us 3 again battling, because some of the best battles that we had was between us 3, especially when Malene got on a Skidoo. And like I said, I'll follow with Articat through and through every single day. But I mean, I feel like it was a really good battle between us 3 whenever Malene especially when she moved to Skidoo, because once Malene got off of Articat, she excelled on the Skidoo way more than she did on the Articat. And I mean, they're backing her very good now. She has a really good team behind her. She has 1-3. So, I mean, she's getting a lot of good support. I mean, Tommy Belair and Jake Belair were the ones who gave her that first championship. Yeah. They brought her back. It was Sue specifically that begged her to come back. And because it was actually Sue's sled that she raced, because Sue raced a couple pro women's races at the beginning of that season whenever they brought Malene back. And I think Sue broke her wrist doing something, or it might have been racing, I don't remember. And so Sue invited Malene to come back, and that's how Malene got the gig with Blair's. And so
Did not know that.
Yeah, so so it was Sue the one that convinced Malene to come back over, and that's where Malene got her championships from. So that's where she got her first 2 championships, not knocking anything, but she got her last 2 with 1-3, but either way, she started from a little trailer and gained those championships, and that's another point again. You don't need a big trailer to win a championship. She won those trailers. She won that championship out of a 15-foot trailer.
Yeah, it was small.
It was tiny. They should only fit that one sled in there, and it didn't have doors on the back. It had the little plastic floppies.
Yeah.
So I mean, she definitely got that. She definitely got that from Belair's with this Skidoo opportunity, which I'm really glad for, because I mean, she's making it work really, really well. Right. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm glad that she switched, and it kind of gives me she was on Articat at that time too, but it gives me the role of being the top pro women's Articat racer, so that kind of gives me a little bit more edge and stuff like that to keep that up, and having an Articat win the championship next year is going to be huge, because I mean, look at all the Skidoos. Skidoos have been super, super dominant the last few years, so I mean, doing with that, I mean, I can't complain. not
Right.
one bit. So, I mean, that's the goal, is to put the Articat on top of the podium as much as I can, because, I mean, Articat is 100% backing me through and through there with anything that I could possibly need. So I'm super, super grateful for them. But it's just, we'll see how the season comes out. Like I said, it's 100% fun. But, I mean, I know that Articat's kind of counting on me to make it the top pro women's racer, and even like Dan and Trent, they need to be the top pro and pro light racers and stuff like that. I mean, at least there's Jake in there, but there's not really a whole lot of fast Articat guys in pro light right now.
Right.
Trent's really one of the only runs, so he knows what he needs to do for next season.
There's really no
checks.
cats. Yeah, that's
I
it.
think
But
Crate
he's
Check is the other one.
LCQ to the back of the pack in the final.
Yeah, and so, I mean, Trent, I mean,
Oh,
whenever
you got the Green Mountain guys too.
Yeah. I do forget about Oscar and Jordan. But, I mean, they're still kind of the same way, though. And so it's really, if Trent were to get a good start and get out front right away, I feel like he would be a really, really good contender. But whenever he gets these the 15th to 10th place starts, but he makes his way up to 7th, 8th, 9th.
Right.
Or 7th, 8th.
It doesn't give you a good enough advantage to be in the front.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's where a lot of these guys are at right now. These guys, I mean, beside Creighton Dillon is just, he's out of the world fast. I mean, we all know that.
Yeah.
And so he can make his way up from dead last and finish in the top 3 anyway. But Trent, Creighton has a lot of raw talent to him too. But most of these guys, I mean, once they start in the back, it's hard to make their way up.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, I mean, a lot of the guys that are starting up front stay up front. I mean, and that's what you need, especially in the sport light, pro light classes. That's exactly what you need in this sport, and especially right now, because I feel like the ice hockey tracks have been going downhill a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's a whole shot type of track. There's not a lot of passing, and we've seen that at a few races this year when the track's super small.
Yeah.
What else are you going to do about it? So,
Salamanca, Deadwood, yeah.
so I mean, it's hard, but I mean, you got to kind of roll with the punches. That's
Yeah.
whenever you just need to make sure that even if you don't have good clutching, you just need to make sure that you try and nail the light.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's
Well, and doing good in your qualifying heats too, because that leads you to have a better gate pick when you're going into your final, so then you can have the whole shot.
And right now, you see in some of the gate picks, they don't want the guys to pile up into the first lap, but also they're making it so we're 99.9% of the time the inside is where you want to be.
Yeah.
I mean, the person from the outside, they cannot rip a whole shot unless their clutching is 1,000% on point.
And they're on the light.
And they're on the light.
Yeah.
And they're maybe getting a 2nd to 3rd place start.
Right.
Or at least back to 5th too.
Yeah.
I've seen it multiple times. So I mean, that's rough part of it too. So I mean, you got to roll the punches, but I mean, that's clutching is a huge part of right now. It's not so much can we race the track. It's clutching at this point.
Right.
With snowcross. So I mean, that's rough, but I mean, like I said, you got to roll the punches and got to take what you can get and try and make what you can do with it. So.
For sure. Yeah. So have you heard anything going into this next season as far as?
For sure, Dan and Trent are going to be on the team. That's kind of a no-brainer right there. We had some really good podiums with Dan last year. Trent had a couple, so that was good. We're getting a really good backing from that. Other than any other brands or anything like that, I think I've heard one thing, but they said not to tell anybody yet, and it's in the pro women's class.
Oh.
So I'm not 100% sure on that one, but everywhere else, I'm not 100% sure. Like, right now, everybody's teams are pretty solid. I feel like Oscar Norm, and with Casey, I feel like Oscar could have done a little bit better. I don't know what he was battling with this season.
Yeah, what the heck happened to him?
I don't know. It's Henges last year, he was great. I mean, he had multiple podiums.
He was on the podium a handful of times.
And then now,
Yeah.
this season was rough, and so I mean I kind of want to see him do better, but maybe Casey has another opportunity to get somebody else that's a little bit Johnny on the spot type of thing. Because I mean, Oscar is older.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 28 to 30 something.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an older guy, so I mean, it's your timeline kind of runs out when you hit that 28 to 30 years old. I mean, Logan Christian was older.
Yeah.
But 90% of these guys, I mean, who is the oldest right now? I think it's Cody.
I think so.
I think Cody's the oldest one right now, and I think he's 28, 29. And Cody's still doing pretty good. He had that knee injury, but I mean, he's still right there.
Right.
He's still top 5s, top 3s consistent. So, I mean, you can't complain with that. But, I mean, once you hit that 27 to 30 age line, that's whenever people start to go downhill because, I mean, your bodies get so beat up, especially at the pace that they're running. And these Triple Crowns didn't help.
No.
These Triple Crowns didn't help. These 8 minutes plus 2 laps, they definitely didn't help at all, especially with, you literally have no breathe time in the middle. I mean, it's different whenever you're running because whenever I was helping with Megan and Desi was scoring, I mean, New York, they did 28 laps in New York. It's unrealistic.
Right.
It's 100%. I mean, it's doing that 3 times. I mean, granted, they're pros, but you're going as hard as you possibly can for 2 days in a row, for 3 races in a row on each day.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, whenever it'd be normal for, like, a heat race. I mean, like, for, like, the original format, it'd be a 10-lap heat race where it's 2 minutes.
Right.
Maybe 2 minutes. Or like an 8-lap heat race. I mean, our finals are 8 laps.
Right.
If they can't run a 7 to 8 lap heat race, then you probably shouldn't be racing pro.
Yeah.
But 7 to 8 laps, and then I mean, pros have a lot more stamina than we do. I mean, so they should be easy running an 8-minute plus moto.
Right.
But doing 3 of those, that's when you get burned out. That's when people start to wreck, especially because
fade.
Especially because the points are only based off one. I mean, I wouldn't say it's not all 3 rounds like heat races.
Well,
heat races,
it's like golf.
Yeah. So like heat races, you get points for your heat races in your final. Now you only get the points for your grand total placings.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's making people run a little bit harder and a little bit more stupid. Because they're like, oh, I need to get out front faster so I can finish better.
Yeah.
Instead of, it's fine if I take 5th place in the heat because I know I'll be in the final. And then they can push as possibly as hard in the final.
Right.
But if you take 5th place in the one of the Triple Crowns, then you take 5th place in the other Triple Crown, but you take 1st in the next one, and you treat it like a normal final, that's 6 points. You're out.
Yeah,
you're not on the podium.
Right.
You have to go 1-1-1. That's 3 points.
Yeah.
And then even going 2-2-2, that's 6 points, and then 3-3-3 is 9 points. So I mean,
I also heard too, and maybe you can shed some light on it, is you get more points in first than you do in second and third. Like there's a 6 to 8 point gap in between first and second.
And I'm almost positive that how it is. And normally it's
not like that. It's like
25, 23, 25, 22, 20.
Yeah.
And then it goes 18.
So it's hard to build that gap up if you have a bad race in like one race out of the season and you're leading and then you lose. Yeah. How are you going to build that gap up?
Look at it back up. Look at this back up. Elias Eschwell. He stayed in 5th place for 2 rounds.
Oh, before his injury or after his injury?
After his injury.
Yeah.
So like two full race weekends, he's still in 5th place, and then he finally got kicked out of 5th place.
Yeah.
I mean, he was decently in front of, he was decently ahead of Email, going in when everybody got hurt. But still, that's a lot of points to make up.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous amount of points. I mean, he ended up finishing, I think, like 12th or 13th in points.
Right.
But, I mean, there's only 12 to 13 in the class anyway. But for him to drop back that slow, I feel like that hurts the thing because you're sitting there and you're pushing as hard as you possibly can go, and you're not getting those heat race wins.
Right.
I mean, this is a pure example, Megan and Malene. Imagine if we did a Triple Crown race then.
Yeah.
Whenever those two were battling. That would be terrible.
Yeah.
Because that 1 point may have been a heat race win.
Right.
Because heat races go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the finals go 25, 23, or 25, 22, 20.
Right.
And then it goes 18, 17, 16, 15, whatever, all the way down the thing. So, I mean, those heat racers are definitely what needs to come back.
Right.
Because it's going to not make the pros get hurt. It's not going to make them want to go as hard because they know that they can comfortably sit, because that's 5 points different coming into the heat race. But say if they go 5-1, it's a little bit different because they get 15 points out of those.
Right.
So
yeah, you're not being taken out of the points as fast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then hopefully they can get 3rd place, and then it balances everything out. getting 3rd overall and then getting 5th overall, because that's a big jump.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a big jump. I mean, I look at Dan and Adam Peterson. Adam Peterson ended up getting 5th in points this year, and Dan broke his suspension whenever. What happened in Duluth was Dan went to go double down the downhill, and as soon as he left that jump, his suspension broke, and that's when he landed on Hunter. And so
I didn't see any of that.
I didn't see it either, but then Caden was the one that told me that. So I mean, maybe he may be wrong, but that's exactly what we think happened, because by the way he landed on Hunter, I don't think his suspension would have broke there, but also nobody really got landed on in that corner all weekend either. Right. And I don't think he tripled. I think he just was doubling down the hill. So, I mean, for that to happen is a little bit off. But, I mean, with that, and then, so Dan didn't get a good start, was kind of like mid-pack, and then he wrecked again. Or he wrecked once, and then he wrecked again. And if he wouldn't have wrecked the second time and finished 1 place better, or Oscar Norm would have dropped back 1 place, he would have gotten a podium that night, and he would have beat Adam Peterson in championship points. Instead, Adam got one position ahead, so he ended up getting 7th, and Dan ended up getting 8th, and he beat him by 4 points. So I mean, it's kind of just like, it's a big gap to fill when you need to. I mean, granted, Adam ran a really good weekend, and he ran some really good races, but I feel like if Dan's suspension would have broke, he would have had an easy top 5 clinch. I mean, Jake was gone at a 4th. Like, he was there. There was no way they could have possibly caught him. Especially that late in the season, how points are working. But I feel like.
And Dan had had a few more DNFs than Yerk did, right?
Yes.
Going throughout the whole season.
So we had some belt issues and like 1 sled issue, but it was mainly belts this season that Dan blew a few times. So I mean, that definitely hurt us too. I mean, because you look at those DNFs, the last place, that's really low points. So I mean,
not many at all.
And I mean, we blew a belt in Duluth twice in Duluth. So I mean, those 2 belt blows could have got us 5th place in championship points. I mean, we'll never truly know, because there may have been something else that may have went wrong. I mean, you can never bank on, I lost a championship because I blew a belt. No, you may have wrecked it later on in the race.
Yeah, you don't know.
You truly don't know.
That was your savior. You have no idea.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, I'd much rather blow a belt than wreck my brains out too. I mean, you may wreck your brains out and blow a belt, but I mean, I'd much rather blow a belt than just kind of just like going, you know? So I mean, I feel like Dan definitely got lucky, but I feel like that was one of the other cases that I feel like he would have got 5th place in the championship points. But also, he may have been higher, he may have been lower in points if we went through back to the original. I feel like the original is the best way to go, and hopefully these guys, I mean, I would hate to see, and I know it's going to happen because Jordan LaBelle did it because I think Skidoo made him, but I would hate to see Creighton racing Pro Light again. It's not going to be fair to all the other guys.
He says he's not moving up.
And I feel like that's absolutely stupid.
Well, he is very young. I'm not saying that winning a championship makes you have to move up, but
I feel like there's some other guys in the Pro Light class, like Nick Lorenz. He's been in Pro Light forever.
He should have moved up.
He should move up.
He's a person that should move up.
But there's a lot of guys in Pro Light that I won't say they're sandbagging necessarily, because they're not getting podiums all the time. But that is what's hurting our pro class right now. That is what's 100% hurting our pro class, because there's 25 guys in the Pro Light class where there's a stacked LCQ. There's
only 15 if nobody gets hurt. There would have been 16 with Cole Coutu if he didn't get hurt before the season. So
there was 13 pros at the end of the season this year, which is sad. I mean, there's more pro women than there is pros. So I mean, I feel like the Triple Crown's also hurting us because everybody's getting hurt too. And I feel like it needs to go.
It saved the racing because
it wasn't boring.
It wasn't boring, but you're taking away the original race format that everybody knows and doesn't have to do math. I don't want to sit there and have to do math on a Triple Crown. No. I'm not saying that math is hard. I'm just saying, like, the general consumer, you're wanting people to come in and watch the sport. They're not going to know who's at the podium.
People are so confused. You know how many texts that I've gotten? Oh, did Dan get on the podium? No.
But he won that last one. No, he still didn't get on it.
Still didn't get on the podium. No. And so it doesn't. doesn't necessarily matter. It's just kind of, it's rough. It is. I feel like it's definitely not very beneficial, but I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to go with what ISOC brings us because they're the only snowcross racer again. We love the sport, so we have to do whatever we got to do to race.
Right.
And so, I mean, some of their, like I said, some of their calls might be a little bit bogus. Some of their stuff might be a little bit stupid. But you're going to get that in NASCAR. You're going to get that in car racing. You're going to get that in motocross.
Exactly.
I mean, so it is what it is. It's kind of, you got to roll the punches, like I've been saying this whole entire podcast. You got to roll the punches.
Yeah, back to what you were saying, with people moving up, I posted a video of Creighton Dillon, and I had this guy, he constantly comments on my stuff. He's like, Creighton Dillon is a sandbagger, he needs to move up to pro. I'm like,
but realistically,
the dude's not a sandbagger because you're only calling him a sandbagger because he's not in pro, and he's dominating pro light. The kid just moved up to pro light after winning a sport championship last year.
And sport was his very first full year racing snowcross.
Exactly.
And so, I mean,
what benefit is he going to get racing pro over in Canada because he would have been in pro light the year that he moved to pro light here?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And that's what makes zero sense to me is like that, because the pro guys over in Canada aren't near as fast as even our pro light guys.
Right.
And so it means a couple of their pro guys ran pro light, and they didn't do a single thing.
Right.
They were slow. I'm not gonna lie, they were 100% slow.
Right.
But I feel like, what is one more pro light championship gonna do for you in your second year of racing in pro light? Because whenever you're rookie of the year, you win rookie of the year, and it's your rookie season, you win the championship. Why not move to pro?
That's the ongoing question.
Look at Jordan LaBelle. I mean, he did just fine in pro. He was top 5.
Yeah.
He's top 5 almost every weekend.
But do you think, like, they're two different people, but do you think that Creighton has the same, like, maybe Creighton has more fire than Jordan, but I think Jordan...
I feel like Creighton rides more out of control than Jordan.
He rides more like Elias, but so did Jordan when he was riding pro light.
Yeah.
Because he knew that he was a top dog.
Mm-hmm.
Now that he's racing with top guys like Elias, Yerk, like, mm-hmm. I think he kind of stepped back a little bit from
for sure
over his head.
Oh yeah, and then that's definitely for sure, because now he has to ride smart.
Yeah.
And like that's again brings us back to Triple Crowns. You have to ride smart in Triple Crowns.
Right.
But then also I feel like it could bring Creighton down a notch. I feel like it would bring Creighton to be a little bit more level-headed. Yeah. Because, like you said, right now he is. I mean, he's a 17-year-old kid.
Yeah. He doesn't have anything to lose.
No, he doesn't have anything to lose. What is he? I mean, that's the point. But also, I feel like Creighton Dillon is definitely the 17-year-old that doesn't have anything to lose. That's for 1,000% sure. Mm. But also, I feel like it would make him a little bit more mature and a little bit more mature rider than riding completely out of control if he would move up to pro next year. And I know, like, that's Skidoo's thing is they want their top guy to hopefully win another championship. That's exactly what Skidoo's looking for. I mean, they made Jordan do the same exact thing.
Right.
So, I mean, why wouldn't you? But I feel like it's hurting the sport more because I don't feel like anybody's going to move up to pro. Who's going to? If you truly think so, who's going to? Maybe Evan Christian, but Evan Christian's not very consistent in the pro light class to move up.
Right.
Nick Lorenz is pretty consistent to move up, but I feel like Nick's going to try and go for a championship in pro light first. So that's another person that's not going to move up. So
I don't know about that.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard from him. He was like, I wanted a year under my belt with Skidoo, and then I'm going to move up. So this is his year.
And that would make sense. And that would make 100% sense. But I feel like he would be the person to go another year because he was the person that could kind of beat Creighton. He could kind of, he could run definitely with Creighton a little bit more at that time.
All right, so we were talking about Nick Lorenz moving up. I did hear him say that he was going to do a year, 1 year on the Skidoo so he can get comfortable, and then he was going to move up to pro, whether he won a pro light championship or not.
Okay, yeah, I mean, he definitely did very, very well. I mean, he took second at the championship, so I feel like he definitely benefited off of that. I mean, why wouldn't he move up? But I feel like with Nick being the type of person, he just wants it so bad, and he's been in pro light for so long, then why would, if he's now on a brand that he's comfortable with and now excelling even more than he has on the Polaris, why wouldn't he try to go for it? Because he knows that he can do it now because he did get second at the championship. So I feel like that's a lot of thinking over the summer, unless he's already like, I'm done, I'm in pro, kind of like one of those things. Yeah. So I mean, now it's kind of like there are doubts in my mind that he will move up to pro, but I still feel like he's going to try and go for a pro at championship because, once again, he was the one to knock Creighton off of his feet. Yeah. He was the one to beat him. So I feel like Nick is going to be probably the only person to beat him next season. So I mean, it can go either way. But I mean,
you could say the same thing about Evan Dell.
Could say the same. Yep. I mean, he's had the worst luck. The worst luck over some of the last years, and it's hard because Evan's a really, really good friend as well. So I mean, talking to him, I got to talk about it with his hand, and his hand is, whenever it happened right in front of me, like I literally watched it happen, and I seen it, and he ran in front of me, and I seen that his hand was straight hamburger. I thought he was literally gonna not be able to move his hand for the rest of his life. He got the definition of lucky. Yeah. Literally, all it was. I don't think any tendons were. All it was broken bones.
Yeah, it was all broken. I saw him about a week and a half ago, and it's like he can't, like his two fingers.
Yeah, he still can't fully get him to go down. He was saying that at Duluth that he couldn't get him to to bend all the way.
This one he finally got down, but not like to the full potential. Yeah. But this one he can't.
Yeah,
he rode moto. I went up to Ryan Frank's house to do a promo video, but he rode moto for a little bit, but he doesn't have the full squeeze yet.
Realistically, if he has a full squeeze in this finger, and he only needs to break with that finger.
Yeah.
I guess that's a clutch. Just kidding. So yeah, you only need to break with that finger. You're good. Yeah. So as long as you have your thumb that works and that finger that works, you just do that. So whatever works, I guess. But if he has strength, that would be the best part. But you don't need necessarily full range mobility. So whatever.
Always tape his hand around the bars.
Yeah, just that's what Racer has to do. He has to wear these things around these mitts.
Velcro straps.
Yeah, literally, and it's like that kid is the definition of dedication.
Yeah, for sure.
And the definition of heart. For to go what he went through. There's so many people that are paralyzed that are still making it happen. But for how young he was, he was a really, really good competitor of mine.
He was 16?
Yeah, 16 or 17.
Yeah.
So super, super young, and now he has some leg tremors that is able to get him to walk and has a little bit. Yeah. But I hope that they were able to find a cure. I hope that they're able to do something for him because once again, that kid was so ridiculously fast. And probably by the time that they find that cure, they find or him being able to get back to somewhat normal. He's living a pretty normal teenage kid life right now, even though he's in a wheelchair, but getting back to somewhat normal is going to take a while. There's a lot of physical therapy that comes with that, and that's years of physical therapy. Yeah. I know we had this is the business-wise and towing company-wise, but my dad, there was a rollover, he got ejected out of the van landed on him, broke his back. My dad was there first before the paramedics and stuff like that, so he lifted the van off of the kid before the paramedics even got there, and they said my dad wouldn't have lifted the van off, he would have died. And that's kind of one of those things that it's, he was in a wheelchair for a few years, and then they did I don't know if they did a back surgery or if it was a lot of physical therapy that he did. His legs never fully went numb, but his back was so bad that his legs wouldn't work. Right. And so I don't know the example, but it took him quite a few years to get back to normal. He still walks kind of funny. He would with that kind of injury, but I wish that is the one thing that I pray for pretty often is for Racer to get his legs back. Yeah, for sure. And there's so many other more things that I could pray for, but that's one thing that you never want anybody to see. I used to race moto with kid that used to race a moto with kid.
With a kid.
With a kid, thank you. My words aren't wording anymore. Back in 2021, he got paralyzed. I think it was a year after Racer did, so whatever that was. 2020. So yeah, 2021, he got paralyzed by a moto accident, and he now can walk with leg braces. He didn't shatter his C4 leg bracer did, it is what it broke. He didn't shatter it, he broke it, so it wasn't as bad as recovery. So he's now, his legs are toothpicks now, and he has to walk with leg braces, and 90%, or I wouldn't say 90, but 60% of the time he's in his wheelchair. The other 40% he has his crutches or whatever that he walks with and his leg braces on. So there are some things to it, but it's just I mean, I wouldn't say I'm familiar with it, but I know quite a bit of people that are paralyzed now.
Right.
And it's so crazy how some of them bounce back and some of them don't. Like Randy's dad Randy's grandpa, my boyfriend, his grandpa fell off of a 20-foot ladder while cleaning the snow off his roof. The winter that they moved back from Florida.
Oh.
They lived in Florida for 8 years, and he ended up falling off of a ladder and ended up getting paralyzed. But he's one of the people that has pain every single day.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has a lot of pain, and I'm glad that Racer is one of those people that doesn't have pain.
Yeah.
Because whenever you paralyze yourself, I mean, he's been paralyzed for the last 10 years. Randy's grandpa. It's you either have pain or you don't have pain. So that's one of the rougher parts of it, because that is what made his life so miserable. He's been on bed rest for the last year and a half, or I don't know, probably since I started dating Randy, so 3 years.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I look at him and I mean, he has like one of those stand-up wheelchairs now, and they were testing it out for one day, probably about 6 months ago, and he ended up breaking both of his legs because he couldn't feel his legs whenever they were putting him back up.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's rough, and like I said, he's one of the people that feel pain every single day because his nerves aren't totally dead.
Right.
And if your nerves are weak, I don't exactly know how it works, but his nerves are so on hiatus right now that his whole body hurts, his back hurts, his leg hurts.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's one of the people that are miserable. So that's why I say I'm glad that Racer and my buddy Wayne that I race across with, they aren't like that.
Right.
So I wish them the best, and I wish that everything was better, but it's rough.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. They definitely have some of the best support with the Wings for Life foundation behind them, and them doing as much as that they can with all the donations so then they can fund a cure. Listening to their story is huge, and seeing that Ryan coming out of retirement to raise money for that foundation is huge.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, all the best luck to that whole family. Big shout out to Red Bull Wings for Life for that whole thing. It's huge, you know. And they're bringing a lot of awareness to the whole snowcross series just because of that, you know. Or they're bringing snowcross into the foundation.
Yeah, into the Wings for Life, because I mean, Larry Morgan. I mean, I think he did get paralyzed racing snowcross.
Moto.
Yeah.
He was
so, I mean,
preparing for snow the next year.
Yeah. So I mean, he knows exactly how it is. I mean, Blair's been in a wheelchair for so long that getting that surgery would be hard for him if he ever did. And if he ever wanted to get a cure, I mean, it would be hard for him trying to bounce back. But Racer's still so young that it would benefit him a lot more because he has so much more like Clip. Blair's
40-something.
40. Yeah. So I mean, so he's been in a wheelchair for so long. Granted, yes, I bet he would love to walk in, but he's so used to that life.
Yeah.
So I mean, I bet it's hard, but I mean, like I said, I hope they do something for him, because I mean, I know it'd be a little bit easier on life for him for sure. Because I mean, he's a young kid; he has so much more to life than sitting in a wheelchair. But I know he's definitely making that life.
He still drives
very, very well. I know. Yeah. No. I mean, he goes where he wants to. I mean, he doesn't have any limitations besides being in a wheelchair. I mean, and that's not an excuse for anything, because there's so many people that have that ability. I mean, he still races snowcross. He still rides moto. So it's cool to see all of these, though.
100%. Yeah. So one last point before we wrap up. Talking about the Creighton Dillon and that whole scenario. For somebody to move up in a pro, and just taking this from the stuff that I hear around the pits, is the support. Who would support more riders going into pro? Where would you see the support? Because you already have KC, you already have Theme, you already have Woodies, and all the other teams that have a pro rider. So now you're adding more budget, and then more support onto that. And I heard also, that you make more money in pro life than you do in pro. So I don't know how accurate that is, but that's what I've heard.
I mean, I truly don't know, because I mean, the brands are sinking so much more into pro right now, but you're on a higher level in pro, so I don't exactly know if that's true. I mean, the only person that's making money is if you're the only way you're making money is riding for another team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, like I said, my dad pays for all my racing. I live rent free. My truck payment's paid. My phone bill's paid. I have zero worries. I mean, I work for the business, so I get a paycheck through the business, because that's two different entities between racing and that.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing that I have to worry about is paying off my credit card.
Right.
That's literally it. And so so I mean, I'm very, very grateful. But I choose to give my money back to my racing and my dad. Mm-hmm. I choose to give it back. But everybody else, if you're racing for another team, you get all your money.
Yeah.
You get your money from your brand. You get your money from, say, FXR, Flight. I don't know, Flight is a tendency. Yeah, you get your money from that. Besides, like the Idaho gives the team money, and they don't give like the racers money. The FXR gives the racers money. I'm almost positive. I mean, I don't get contingency through FXR.
Probably depending on the level that you are at.
Yes, exactly. And so, I mean, depending on how long you've been with FXR for, stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't truly 100% fully know if pro light's getting paid more than pro. I don't think so. But I don't also exactly know I don't exactly know.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that RCAT teams aren't paying much more than I mean, everybody's literally getting paid on the same scale.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knows that there's not very many RCAT teams. RCAT teams trying to get more people to come through. Yeah. But I think they're trying to get a little bit more bigger teams to come through. But Skidoo, they don't want any more teams.
Right.
Skidoo literally has everybody. Yeah. So Skidoo has stopped giving out sponsorships. Skidoo, it's like, I mean, they won't like give your stuff at a discount price. They won't give you parcels. They won't give you anything because they're making everybody else give you something. They're making players give and RCAT give because you can't. I mean, yes, can there be two brands in a sport? Can there be one brand in a sport? Yes, but it's not feasible. It's not possible. It's not ethical. So I mean, that's the only reason why I would say that. I mean, backing would pay you more because Skidoo is definitely on top. Skidoo is making the most money out of everybody right now. So I mean, that's the only reason why I would say yes, but also no. So I mean, that's the really only thing that I have like that. But sponsors is a huge thing. And speaking of sponsors, CNA Pro Skis, Josh also works from. I am giving away this set of skis, race-down skis. They are used, but they're perfectly good and to go. And maybe I'll even throw in an extra set of ski loops but these ones aren't too bad. They're only on the second hole, which is normal. But I don't know how Josh wants to do this contest. I don't know if he wants to do it with views or anything like that. But all I know is I'm giving away this set of skis to somebody who watches this podcast, this specific episode. So, and this is going to be a set. It's not just a single one. I'll sign them if you want me to. You can message Josh on that. But I'll even let him pick the winner and stuff. But the free set, you're going to get a free set of skis, and they're the Taven custom Soli skis. So purple and blue. So
you don't want to miss out on these things. I've been eyeing them all podcasts. This whole podcast. I like them.
Yeah, so I mean, and then maybe we could pick two people and they get to pick my ski color for next year.
Okay, so why don't we discuss that really quick? You want to do like 3 people comment on this podcast and then 3 people follow you on Instagram or whatever?
Yeah, so we'll do 2 people.
Okay.
Should I give away one ski and one ski, or should I give away the set of skis so they can use them?
I guess I'll leave that up to you, depending on if you want them to ride them or
we'll do one ski and one ski. I'll autograph the one, and then so that's 2 people, and then the third person gets to pick my ski color for next year.
Cool.
So I think that's a good deal.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And you know, my relationship with CNA and Brian and the whole crew over there, Nancy, and even like Rita and stuff like that, because I know she's kind of helping them out too. My relationship with them is really good, so we could probably make this happen 100%.
Heck yeah.
And so, I know I love them and they love me, so I think it'd be a cool deal with them. So
for sure, yeah, and I appreciate CNA for sponsoring the podcast. For every single podcast that I've done, awesome company. I appreciate them, and yeah, you ready to wrap things up?
I am. So yeah, this has been a super fun time, and I'm glad to kind of share my thoughts and opinions and maybe talk crap a little bit, but it's been more fun just to have fun being laid back and being able to talk about this kind of stuff that I'm not able to talk about in general. So
for sure. Going from broadcast person on snowcross, professional racer, you name it, she does it all. So make sure to follow her on Instagram, Facebook. All the good stuff. You got TikTok?
I do have TikTok, but I don't post, so my posts are kind of lame, so.
Gotta get on that jam.
I know.
But yeah, make sure to follow her. I appreciate everybody listening in on this podcast. Hope everybody enjoyed the episode. Make sure to hit that follow button, hit that like button, drop a comment below. If you want to win these skis, make sure to drop your name in the comments. Follow Taven on her Instagram and Facebook. So yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. And thank you, Taven.
Thank you.
Yep.